Well, now, my delightful delinquents. One moment. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Gabbin' in the Games. Fuck you. That was Lawrence the band. Obviously, if you're listening to the show after the fact, I'm going to remove that so I don't get a copyright strike. But fuck you all. They have a real brass section. None of this synth bullshit. They actually have people playing trumpets and saxophones. They're a great band. In fact, they're a great band. They just opened for the Rolling Stones a couple nights ago. Somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know where that was. I may be seeing them when they come to San Diego. We'll see. I like them, though. They feel very 80s, very Joe Cocker 70s, Huey Lewis 80s, so go fuck yourself. But it's good to see you. Welcome to the Gabbin' in the Games for the 28th of May as we are closing in. I hope you had a nice Memorial Day. Hope you had a nice little breaky break, a little holiday there for you. Where's my picture? Oh, I know where it is. Hang on. You can't see my front face. You can see my perfect face. It's nice to see you. Hello, everybody. The song was good. Kenny says, the song was good. What's the name? It's called Guy I Used to Be from a band called Lawrence the Band. You can find them pretty much everywhere. Okay, welcome to the show. I want to start off by, oh no, Brandon says, I feel like I'm in Macy's waiting for my ex-wife. Oh, shut up. Music snobs are the worst in the world. Fucking say it with me. You people are terrible. You're worse than game snobs, and that's pretty fucking bad. That's pretty bad. Music snobs are just a whole new level of obnoxious because they can't really articulate what they like about the music they like, and they can't really articulate what they don't like about the music they don't like. All they really... Let's just all be clear for a moment, shall we? We all know good and goddamn well the reason there are music snobs out there is because... they got to have something think about it. You got to have something in your life to feel good about. In absence of any talent or any ability of your own, you choose to pretend to be in the know about things that other people have been gatekept from just so you can feel a little bit good about yourself. Think about the bills, if that's you, that you're going to have to pay in therapy. It's a lot of bills, my friends. It's a great many bills for you to pay in the therapy. Unless you have a pro bono therapist who's like, hey, I get it. You don't have a lot of money, but I still want to help you out. I understand. Listen, fellas, before we get going with the show, I have to tell you a story that's only tangentially related. I do a show on Saturdays called I Love the Weird Now. That's every Saturday, 5 o'clock. Hopefully you'll tune into this one. It's everybody about it's ghost and supernatural and paranormal. Oh my God, Jaffe. Paranormal, UFOs, UAPs, AI, just weird shit. Hello, Power Lad. I was doing the show this last Saturday, and I had made the mistake of... hey, there's old Rich, Review Tech USA. Good to see you, buddy. Come on in. Click the link. Come on in, Review Tech. Let's catch up. It's been a while. There's a link at the top of the thing. So I'm in there and I'm prepping the show, and I get the Taco Bell, and they have the nacho fries. Don't ask me why the nacho fries come and go off the menu. It's fucking ridiculous. Regardless. It is like the fast food element of video games. It's like the multiverses of video games. Sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. But the point is, I get the nacho fries. My dog, I give one to my dog. He likes it. Then I go to the bathroom. Then I go get the mail. And I come back and he's eating like 12 of them. I'm like, oh shit, well that can't be good for him. Whatever, doesn't matter. Suddenly he shits during the show all over the carpet, okay, in the other room. And I'm like, you know what? I am absolutely not going to worry about it. I have to do the show. I'm a goddamn professional-ish. And I'm just going to deal with the stench and do the show. So I do the show. It's a great show. I think we talked forever. It's like a 4-hour, 5-hour fucking show. And afterwards, I settle in. I get up to go get the dog poop. Yes, he pooped everywhere. Yes, it was kind of, liquidy and whatnot. Gross. But, my fault for giving him the nacho fries. But here's the point, though. Here is the point. This is how much I love this book, because he doesn't just shit on the carpet. He shits on the book that I'm reading, and it's just a delightful book. Here it is right here. The Last Action Heroes, the Triumphs, Flops, and Feuds of Hollywood's Kings of Carnage. It's all about the guys you see on this book right on the cover. There's Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis, Van Damme, all of them. And it's all about their rise in the 70s and 80s and how that genre eventually kind of gave way to not that genre. And I was halfway through it, and the book is just kind of sitting out there. And he then shits all over it. So you know what I did? I went to Amazon. I'm like, you know what? That's how much I love this book. It's a good book if your dog shits on it and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm buying it again. And so it's coming tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to share that little story with you. Taco Bell needs to stop the shenanigans, says Machine XP. Nacho fries are amazing. I did a food review on my old channel years ago. I don't yeah. Cucamonga says my dog left me a bookmark. That's right. Hey, read this part. This is my favorite. I don't get, like, I understand false and manipulated scarcity when it comes to something like, when it comes to something like, okay, we're going to have the Szechuan sauce for the nuggets at McDonald's, and it's a thing, and every year, and we sell more when it's like a hyped up event. Okay, it's annoying, but I get it. But these nacho fries come and go like the weather. It's not like there's any rhyme or reason, at least that the general population gets to know about. So we're just sort of at the mercy of Mr. Bell when he and or she, it's 2024, who knows who runs that organization, decides to put them back on the menu. But they are good. They are good. Bo Bandy, thank you so much, buddy. He's been a member here for 33 months. He says, hey, Jaffe, have you heard anything about the new PS5 PC first-person game Concord that's supposed to come out this year? No. I know as much about it as you do, which is to say not much. I know that there's some kind of spaceship and there's like a sandwich in there in the shot in the CG trailer. And my understanding is it's a competitive first-person shooter, but I don't even know if that's true. Other than that, no clue. There has been a rumor that started by Grubby Grub that we are going to be having a PlayStation showcase this month. Well, the month is rolling to the end, boys, and I don't see it happening. And we'll talk about that a little bit later about Sony's radio silence and sort of what it's doing to the fan base. But so I'm hoping we see it soon, but no, I know nothing about it. Is it possible to enable live closed caption? It is. The only trick with that, because it is on after the show. The problem, I'll just do it. But they say that if you want to stream at the bandwidth that I'm streaming at, you have to drop resolution if you want the thing to do live closed caption or some such nonsense. So I'll see what I can do in the next stream. Machine XP says I could be wrong, but I thought I read somewhere Concord was being delayed. I haven't seen that, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me. It absolutely would not fucking surprise me. PK, that's actually not what they said. PK says they already said they have no first-party games until next year, so what's the point of a showcase? They did not say that. They said they don't have any first-party games that are part of one of their major franchises until last quarter of 2025 or second to last quarter of 2025. I believe that's what they said. Because we know that they've got... AA is an AA works for fucking Sony, but he says officially Concord is 2024 from the financial report. So it sounds like Sony's confirming it. He's played it. You know, he knows what it is too, and that's fine. I got a number of people I know here on the show that work for PlayStation, and I don't press them. I got a big guy that you guys would be like, holy shit, that guy talks to you? Yeah, he talks to me. You know the fuck I am? Of course he talks to me. But I'm always like, yeah, no, man, if it's off the record or if I can I mask it in some anonymous bullshit? And sometimes he says yes, and sometimes he says no. And a lot of times he says no, as he should. He's working for the man. He's got to protect their products. But anyway, though, so we probably won't see Ghost Tsushima, but they could announce it. They could drop a trailer. They could drop a teaser like they did with Uncharted back in the day with Nathan Drake lying in the mud. Oh, fuck it. We'll just go to it. Hiroki Totoki said no first-party game releases this year. Is that what he said? Somebody do me a favor if you don't mind and run a verification check on that horse shit that Toxmod is spewing. That seems a little hard to believe. So what do they got then? What's coming out this Christmas? I know there's some decent titles still coming from Sony this Christmas, but I don't remember him saying no first-party. Awesome says he didn't say that. So yeah. All right. Well, whatever. We'll see what happens, but fuck it. We'll just jump to that right now. So there was a thread over on, and I'll talk about the housekeeping bullshit a little bit later, but There was a thread over, and by the way, if you're on the YouTube, there's a link at the top of the YouTube, and that will let you call in. You don't have to be on camera. You can just use your voice if you're too shy to compete with my good looks, and you can contribute to this conversation live if you would like to. That should be up on the YouTube channel at the very tippy top. I'll deal with that on the Twitch stream a little bit later. But anyway, listen, so there's a thread over on NeoGAF, and the guy basically says, is it just me, or are you guys getting sick of the radio silence or the lack of a showcase from Sony, blah, blah, blah. And for the longest time, I have been like, you know what, man, as much as I would love Sony to open up the house coat, the bathrobe, kimono, and show us the goods, show us what they got coming down the line. They don't need to, because they're selling like hotcakes, which really one would assume hotcakes sell great. I don't think they sell any better than any other breakfast food, but we understand the point I'm making. So, point being though, is that was sort of my take for the longest time. Yeah, it would be nice, but it doesn't matter. Okay. But I'm starting to go, it's not that it's going to matter right now. It's not that it's going to matter even possibly this generation, but there is something, there is something about their lack of interest or ability, it's one of the two, to connect with their consumers beyond the way that they're doing it now. And I don't mean, like, I get from a selfish standpoint, I want that. I'm a hardcore gamer. I do content on games, obviously. I want to know, okay? But I'm trying to, that's my own selfish bullshit. But there is kind of a point where you go, it's like, okay, guys, I get that you're number one, and I get you don't need to do this. But it's kind of sowing these seeds, right? It's kind of sowing these seeds, not of worrying about their inability to ship games. Nobody doubts that. But just the sense of like, nobody needs to be best friends with Hiroki Totoki or Shuhei Yoshida. They don't have to be personalities or anything like that. But there is a point where it's like, look, I'm spending a lot of money on your ecosystem. It would be nice if you guys kind of, press the flesh just a little bit. I was thinking about this when I was a youngster. I'm really old because I said youngster. Papa? Remember Yentl? No. They don't remember Yentl, Jaffe. The Barbra Streisand 1983 movie where she wanted to learn the Torah and she decided to dress up like a man so she could learn the ancient wisdom of the Kabbalah. No, they don't remember it. It wasn't even a big hit. Even if... What's wrong with you? Okay, let's go. I want to show you, though. When I was a young lad, this is what we had. Okay, here's the thread. Anyone else sick of the will they, won't they speculation over Sony's showcase? Yes, no, blah, blah, whatever. The point is just we all know we're sick of it. Tootsie. Tootsie was a great movie. Okay. Point being is, when I was a wee lad, we had these. And I'm going to move up through the ages. But, I'm not going to... romanticize this. And I know we're not talking game manuals. Every time you bought an Atari cartridge, you got the latest and greatest game manual, which showed you all the other stuff that either you could get right away for your Atari or that you could get coming very, very soon. Okay. And yes, games didn't take as long to make, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I get why that's hard to do today. And then when ColecoVision came along, ColecoVision, which was awesome, had one of these. And, these were great too, man. Here, this is, they really prided themselves on sort of being, we make arcade, accurate, carts. And then they started branching off from just that. Like they did Smurfs Adventure and stuff, but it was like, it was exciting. It motivated you. You felt connected. And like in the chat right now, Bender of String says, the truth is most fans just like to feel connected, to the brand beyond just the products. Right, but in the past, I was going, yeah, that's true, but it's not. That's a vocal minority. It's not really moving the needle. But the fact, and it's not moving the needle. But there is a point where I think it's just, it just doesn't feel good. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to make a difference. Like I don't think they're going back into the arrogant ways of PS3 at all. I'm not saying that. It just, there's something about it to me that feels, here's what it is. It feels like they are taking their success for granted. It's not that they can look at the spreadsheet and go, look, if we do a showcase, we up value X percent. It's not that. But it just feels like, I don't know. It just kind of feels like, you should at least have somebody out there short of the blog, which just feels like corporate vomit. No offense to the blog. I go to it and get news from it, but it's just PR up the butthole. It would be nice if they would come out and kind of say, hey, we're working on this and we got this going on. And hey, let's do a live chat with Drive. Just, make it a little bit more, at least seemingly transparent. If it's not transparent, that'd be nice. 2D Realm says, didn't Jim Ryan set this up? He seemed to make is a one-man show to communicate to the public. Before Ryan, there was Shu, Sean Layden, and the big blonde guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're doing it, and I don't know if that was like a mandate from Jim Ryan, but, Johnny Graphics, no, my goodness, man. How long does this narrative have to take hold and stay? Is it possible you are so critical of modern PlayStation, at least in part because you are no longer a part of it? No, man. How long have you had to watch this show? And you've been around. I've seen your name. You've been around. Do you really think I still want to work in video games at this point? Is that really a narrative that runs through anybody's fucking mind? Good God, man. No. I literally today, Sony asked me for a video I had to make for them for a book that's being written, and I won't go into any more detail than that. The minute I got the email, I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do it. I did it. I sent it to them. I have nothing but love for the people over there, at least some of them, a lot of them, but not all of them. But, good God, man. How about the fact that what I'm bringing up is valid? How about that, graphics? AAA says, whatever, I'm just going to call it says, I feel like most people hate teaser trailers. It's not that they hate teaser trailers, and I don't even agree with that, where he says, do you think showing games too early has been a trend that gamers dislike? Not really. No, not really. I think they might say they do, but if you're giving them the option of like, hey, welcome to Sony Community Day, welcome to the PlayStation Community Day, we can't give away everything, and some stuff you're going to see is really early, but hey man, here's some stuff we were working on that we canceled. Here's a live roundtable where viewers can watch the stream and interact directly and ask questions of Corey or Neil or Hiroki Toki and all those guys. Just, be a little bit more fun to be a fan of is what I would say. And is that going to affect the bottom line? Not right now. But I think what I'm getting at, and I think it's kind of coalescing in my brain pan, is that it's indicative, I think, of a... The fuck was that, Ace? It's indicative of a kind of... lack of connection and understanding of their core fan base. But maybe they're like, yeah, but you guys aren't my core fan base anymore, says PlayStation. Because that's the Fortnite boys now. I don't know. Do you think as older folks, we might look at past generations of games with rose-tinted glasses? Absolutely, Kyle. I don't. I mean, there are games in the best example of it is any nostalgia play, right? Where you can go, oh, how come the music of the 80s was so much better? And maybe there are some valid examples of why it was. But you also remember the hits. You don't remember like the follow-up song from Aha after the massive success of Take On Me, which was The Sun Always Shines on TV, which I think was a relatively decent hit in Europe, and it barely even charted in America, right? So I think a lot of it is just that what you remember is the good stuff because you forget the bad stuff just naturally. By the way, I'm on this page because my neighbor had this game, Tunnels and Trolls, on his Texas Instruments, and I just thought it was the coolest fucking thing, man. The coolest goddamn cockadoodie fucking thing in the world. I don't know why that would... I don't know what that would change. What do you mean, Dan? Are you saying you don't know if they showed the games earlier, or do you mean you don't know if it would change just because they were out there, saying, hey, here's what we've got in the works? I'm not sure I understand your comment. Okay. It's more like Jaffe's afraid to make another game because you're afraid it will flop, says Bad Robo. I think that the creative power and desire to make games is still with you. It just isn't, Bad Robo. I mean, let me ask you a question. What logic could you offer me to say that that is accurate? Right? I just don't know. I don't, it's just not fun for me. Like we had on the stream the other day, he called in and he's a programmer at PlayStation. And he was talking about how much he really enjoyed the process, not just the end result. He enjoyed the day-to-day dealing with technical challenges, working with smart people, working with great tech, and trying to figure out how to actually achieve the process. And at the end of the week, hopefully you're like, hey, that was a week of good work. That was never how I saw video games. I hated the process. I loved the end result. I loved having the ideas, and I loved imagining what they would be, and I loved aspects of the process. But 90% of the process was brutal for me. It was not enjoyable. It was only worth it because you got out the other side and you had this thing that you had seen in your head, and it was better than what you saw in your head. So literally, it just wasn't fun for me, man. I do think music was much more prevalent, virtuosity in the 80s. You had amazing shredders and singers. Yeah, possibly. That's really interesting, says, I understand from the director point of view, the process sucks. Yeah, because if you're the director of a video game, you didn't get into it necessarily because you like sitting there in front of a computer and figuring out, how am I going to come up with the system that integrates with these 20 other systems and still get the game what it needs to be? You weren't doing that. You were at a level that you only saw progress very fucking rarely. Johnny says it's like when Colin talks about modern game journalism, he gets visibly heated. I know he doesn't want to go back to that, but he's still salty about how they treat him. I'm just not, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what would let me ask you this, Johnny. What would somebody in my position have to be salty at Sony? These guys funded my first company, and that game, Twisted Metal 2012, some people loved it. I loved it. Didn't make a lot of money. Barely made any money. They funded my second game. That didn't make any money, and it was a flop. And then they funded another game, and the only reason it didn't ship is because they were partnered with another division within Sony, and that division pivoted away from sort of what their initial goal was when they originally came to us and said, we want to make this kind of game for our service. So what would I have to be salty about? I just don't get it, I guess. And it's frustrating. I think it's frustrating because, I pride myself on being able to communicate relatively well, and I keep running up against this narrative. So I'm like, what is it that I'm doing poorly, when it comes to communicating? Machine says, I've written novels and I love a lot of aspects of it, but sometimes the actual writing process can suck. Right. I can't tell you the game after Drawn to Death Movie Maniac yet. The executive that greenlit it, I promised him I wouldn't talk about it until he just ever, but I know once he leaves, if he ever leaves, so far he's still there, I'm more than happy to share it. But I have so much respect for this person that I'm like, no, I gave him my word. So, okay, let's move on, though. Let's get into the news, my darling, delightful friends, shall we? But there's the PlayStation topic, right? Right at the top of the show. You like how I did that? I'm on fire, bitches. Listen, here is some housekeeping, though. This stream... Okay, well, Saturday, there's a definitive I Love the Weird stream. Absolutely. Tomorrow, there's never a stream. I don't stream on Wednesdays. Tomorrow is a lunch with Jaffe. I will put that up later tonight, the time, probably around 11:30, but I got to go buy a new couch because Ace shit on the couch as well. When he shit on the carpet, it was started on the couch, dripped down to the carpet. But anyway, that's tomorrow. And then Friday, I'm doing Constellation with Last Stand Media, so I'm not going to be able to do a stream, but I'm going to try to have stuff up Thursday and Friday that's not live at 5 o'clock. I don't know if I can pull it off. I want to be that guy. I want to be that kind of streamer, but I don't know if I can pull it off. But so you know, if you don't see me live until Saturday, that's what's going on, unless you come to lunch from tomorrow, which is any tier, as long as you're a member of the show or a mod, come on, let's have lunch. We'll shoot the shit, hang out, have a good time. Also, Thursday, I probably won't be live streaming the Silent Hill Digital Showcase, but that's coming up this Thursday at 4. And I will end up doing a video. Maybe it'll be part of my pre-recorded video about my thoughts on that. Hopefully, as well as my completed playing of Helldivers 2. So, it's a little bit of a weird week. I apologize for that, but there's a lot going on, and it just can't be helped because it's all related to the stream. But like I gotta get some video graphics in here to remind people to subscribe, and I've got to put most people don't even know we have a podcast. This show, we have a podcast that's on Spotify. It's on the Patreon. I need to be able to get visual cues for that so they can run during the show and stuff. So I got a lot of that kind of behind the scenes horse shit to do. So I apologize, but that's where we are. Listen to this though. If you miss me too much, and why would you not? But you can go play this, you old salty fucks. Multiverses dropped today. It's back in the highlight again. High Life again used to seem to me. That's a great song. Back in the High Life again, Multiverses, after a year pulling it in for a retuning. I didn't play the first one enough to know. Oh, you can't even see it, can you? I didn't play the first one enough to know the difference. People are saying, oh, it's a different engine, or the characters are bigger, it's a little slower, or whatever. But I will tell you that I played about 30 or 40 minutes of it today. It's free, give it a shot. It's crossplay. It's fun. I like it. I don't know, they've done a lot of work on the very thing that the Helldivers guys came out today, and they were kind of, explaining. They're like, we knew we'd come to this point where we don't, we know we have to drop a lot more content for you guys, saying to the audience. But, I don't think they were prepared for the success. I don't think they were prepared for the massive number of people hungering for new contents. That's what these guys went back into the garage in part to do, and to kind of create a sense of frequent cadence that will, as a service game, allow people to have something to keep coming back for beyond just the moment-to-moment gameplay. So, and I went in today, and they got a really, it's not like Mario good, but it's like a nice single-player little thing to do that you can earn rewards. They've got a couple of modes. They've got really cool costumes. I got Jason Voorhees today, playing with him. It's a fun game if you like Smash Bros. Style games. I have no idea how it compares to Smash Bros. In terms of the moment-to-moment mechanics, because that's just not my... that's not what I do. I can't speak to it on an expert mode, but I can certainly speak to it as a casual core fan, and it's a lot of fun. It's out today. The one news story where people are complaining, because I think it's a law, if you play video games, you got to find one thing to complain about. But I get it. They're saying the problem is, and by the way, this was a problem we had with Twisted Metal, and I don't even remember how we fucking solved this, but and maybe we didn't solve it for everyone, but what the old Multiverses had was a system where the characters had to be purchased or unlocked through gameplay, but if you played locally, they were all unlocked. And, obviously people like that, and the tournament people, especially small tournament people, like that. But now the characters there's always like 3 or 4 characters for free, kind of like League of Legends, and they rotate, and you can spend money or you can spend grind money, either or, to purchase a character, or you can wait for it to become free and play it and level it up for a couple of days, and it goes back in the vault, blah, blah, blah. But the tournament guys are saying, okay, but we play tournaments locally, and unless you're a big tournament, the only way we're going to be able to have all the characters is every small little tournament is going to have to, buy every character. And it was like, it's $10 a character, right? So you're probably looking at, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 8. 1, 2, 3, So you're looking at like $400 right off the bat, give or take, if you want to have all the characters for your tournament, which isn't a lot for a tournament, but at the same time, it's more than a lot of these guys are used to paying. So I get that, but I'll tell you, this was always the challenge on Twisted Metal, and I don't remember how we solved it in Twisted Metal 2012, but I remember it being a conundrum, which was, do we make you unlock everything in the game, the main game, whether it's single player and or online, in order to get those unlocks to work locally? And on one hand, it made sense to say no, they should all be unlocked for local split screen. But on the other hand, to me, one of the real advantages of getting people to unlock things is they want to see what it looks like and how it plays and what you do and all that shit. And I would just go, well, yeah, but you can just play it locally and play through everything, and then your motivation to unlock is gone, at a novelty level. Like a lot of times I want to unlock stuff just to see what it does. You guys in the chat that are complaining $10 a character is not a lot. What are you talking about? That's a pretty, first off, you can make your money, you can grind for it. I think what would be cool is you could contribute to the price of real money with your grind currency. So it's 3,000 grind currency or 1,000 real currency, and 1,000 is equatable to $10. $10 for a full character with a full move set and all kinds of level up trees and all that shit. You're telling me, what are you talking about? You guys, and somebody in the chat saying that's greedy. Wayne B says, Jaffe, you're rich. Fuck you. $10 is a lot. I'm not saying $10 is not a meaningful amount of money, but no one's asking $10 for a skin. It's a free game. You can get characters, a couple that will be permanent when you first log in, if you do certain tasks. And then you can also grind up and get them. $10 for, I don't know, man. Wow. Would I pay $10 for a single Marvel Snap card? No. But a single Marvel Snap card is not this. A single would I pay $10 for an entire deck of brand new cards that I could put in any deck, but they also are in a deck called, the Stan Lee celebratory I ripped off Jack Kirby deck? Sure. I would absolutely pay for that. But I don't know. We had Chan Park on the show last week, who was the head of the studio and one of the lead designers of PlayStation All-Stars Super Battle Royale or whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, it's not 5 minutes to make these things. If it was just a reskin, I would agree with you. But, it's not that. They have their movesets and voiceover and, I don't know, man. I'm not with you on that. But, we'll see. I wonder, what does a character cost in Brawlhalla, which is the closest competitor? Or what do the characters cost in... do you have to pay for the characters in Smash Bros? Because you bought that fucking thing for $60. Brawlhalla. Let's see what the Brawlhalla characters cost. But the Smash Bros characters, when they put out a new character, if you own the game, I don't remember. Was it just totally free? Or did you have to actually pay? I know they had DLC characters, but did you have to pay money for them? Or if you bought the game, they just came with it? Or did you have to buy like the season pass? Like I remember in Mario Kart, I had to buy the season pass and I got all the tracks, but that wasn't free. Smash has DLC. Yes, but is it free DLC? Okay, DLC were $8. Okay, so, and how long ago was that? Like 4 years ago? Yeah, Brawlhalla has a base of free characters, but so does the goddamn thing we just played. Looked at. So does the God damn it, Jaffe, the multiverses. Jaffe, $200 for all of them. I would not buy $200 worth. Look, here's what I'll say on that, and we'll move on because I know it's not for everybody. Yeah, I'd love to know what these are, but I can't find the prices. Is there a store in this? No. Here's what I'll say on this. So if like I have spent already $200, $160 to $200 on Marvel Snap. And it's one of my favorite video games of all time. I have zero problem having spent that money. It is worth it. They have entertained the fuck out of me on a free game, and they are more than welcome to that money. So if you are in the headspace of you actually are tempted to pay for every character in Multiverses, doesn't that mean that you love it and it's one of your favorite? I mean, why would you pay for, and you don't even have to pay for any of them, you can grind them, but why would you even consider paying for all the characters unless it's one of your favorite games ever? It just seems weird to me, man. Anyway, whatever, play it, don't play it. I will be playing it. There's a lot of great free games out right now. This is one of them. X-Define is one of them. The new season of Fortnite is one of them. We'll be doing a game night in the next 2 weeks for members, and they'll all be a lot of these free games. Wayne says it makes me not even want to try it. What? Because they're okay. Yeah, the cosmetics are ridiculously expensive. Absolutely. I would agree with you. I think the cosmetics are overpriced, but you know, you don't need them. There's no mechanics. It's just cosmetics. So, okay. I've spent thousands of hours playing Halo Infinite, and I have spent only $3. That's great. And they're cool with that. I mean, they'd love you to spend money, but you know, they made it free, and they know there's a lot of people like you who don't want to spend any money on it. Right. Duke says, I enjoy Diablo 4, so I don't mind dropping money on it, and I've had it since launch. Right. See, I've been back into Diablo 4 lately, and but I won't. I sometimes am tempted. I'll go into that store and see this beautiful armor and all that shit, and then I'll just kind of remember it's just cosmetic, and you don't see your character all that close, and fuck it, I'm not going to do it. And Masochista, I don't agree. I do not agree with support the developer. I think that's a dangerous concept. You never do something to support a developer. Like, unless it's like, oh, there's this guy and I know his story and his wife took all his money and he's making this game that we love and I want to keep him in business. Okay, sure, I guess, whatever. But your job as a consumer is to pay for what you consider of worth. That's it. The minute you start putting this motivation on top of it, which is I have to support the developer, I think that's nonsense. You're supporting them by giving them the money that they ask for what they've made. If they haven't created enough value and they haven't signed a good enough contract with the publisher that they're able to make a living off their work, then that's a them problem. And it sucks, but, you know, damn. No, I'm a developer and we support you. My assumption, PK99, as a member of this channel that pays money every month, it's because I bring you something of value. Now, if I don't and you're only paying me because the games I made in the past, I appreciate it, but I certainly don't. I think if you've played my games and you played them with money that you paid either us or Blockbuster or whoever, or the GameStop used, that transaction is done. And I'm cool with that, you know. I don't mind spending money if a game I enjoy, but something I feel like the game's companies are taking advantage of people by locking content. Of course they are, Brandon. Of course they are. They want you to want it. I mean, why is this any different than walking around a mall and looking in a window at a store and going, oh, I really want that? Isn't that the nature of just the free market? Of course they want to take advantage of you, and they want you to go, oh, I want to apply pressure to get this person to buy it. Jaffe says, Eric Lennon, this does not surprise me, by the way, this comment. He says, I'll be honest with you. First off, anybody who says they'll be honest with you have to be careful of, because does that mean sometimes you're selectively honest? He says, I think I pirated every single one of your games that I've played. Yeah, I get it. I don't like hearing that, but I pirated games when I was younger, so it is what it is. Kyle says there's a large difference between this free game and games that do it for $70. Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but again, some of them get away with it. Like Rainbow Six Siege announced it yesterday, and they're not a $70 game anymore. But the fans are mad because they're like, dude, the game, we already paid for the game. All right, let's move on, though. Let's move on. I don't want to bore you with Fortnite, so I promise you this is Twisted Metal related to some extent. This is Ninja. You guys remember
grown man.
You guys remember Ninja. He was the big Fortnite guy, had crazy hair. Well, it was crazy back in the day, whatever. The point is, he's complaining about the new season in Fortnite. The new season in Fortnite is heavily inspired, although not literally. My guess is they had the license for Mad Max, and maybe because of Multiverses or whatever, they pulled it because it's pretty much a goddamn Mad Max season. Let me just show you real quick. But it's also a Twisted Metal fucking season. Look at this and how you can look at this and not even want to try it if you claim to be a Twisted Metal fan. I don't know what to fucking tell you, but check this out. This is like it's a 40-second clip. I turned the volume down because there's rock music that I don't know. Look, I mean, come on. If I were to tell you in a different art style, this was the new Twisted Metal and this is what you could do, how many times have people been asking you to get out of your car and then get back in the car and steal people's cars and eject people from cars? And, you know, people are like, Jaffe, you can make it so your buddy could drive and I could shoot. That's all in here. This is the new season of Fortnite. And again, if you don't like car combat, that's fine. But I'm just showing it to you first before I play you what Ninja says. But Ninja, who's like the big Fortnite guy, he's not pleased. Well, Destruction also, a lot of games have, I mean, GTA Online, no one has ever not done, you know, get out of your car and all that stuff. But I'm just saying that's what they're doing. Other games have done it, but they're doing it in Fortnite, the biggest game in the world, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the point is, though, here's Ninja complaining about it. Now, he's much more of a nuanced fan of this game and master of this game, so maybe he's talking about it at a level that's not conceptual, but it sure fucking sounds like it's conceptual that he's got a problem with. Listen to this. Let me turn it down a little bit.
We're going to land in the middle of nowhere. We're going to land in the middle of nowhere. We're going to loot up. We're going to find a vehicle. We're going to fucking not attack anyone. We're going to gas the vehicle. Make sure that it's got its bulletproof tires. Make sure we got the cow catcher on it and a mounted turret. You're going to carry a repair torch. You're going to carry a repair torch. And then we're going to play like the biggest fucking losers in the world. Because this season is absolute dog fucking water. If I was a 5-year-old that still loved cool cars, I would be having the time of my life. I'm a 32-year-old grown man that likes to fucking shoot things, right, in video games. And now I have to drive a vehicle around and pray that I run into people that have a worse vehicle than me. We're going to land in the middle.
Right. So I play this only because, and again, I don't know, I do know some people are complaining, but I think it's one of those internet pylons. Like this guy's like, what the fuck is the state of this game? Indestructible cars, guns on cars, and teaming, worst Fortnite season. And I'm just kind of like, you know, I don't know how much to take serious given that all it takes is the right person to complain about something and everybody fucking jumps on. But the funny thing about that, though, is it's like when everybody's like, Jaffe, Twisted Metal, do a new Twisted Metal, do a new Twisted Metal. End of the day, this is kind of the problem with Twisted Metal, is that as much as I and some of you think the idea of vehicle combat is just the coolest fucking thing in the world, there are people who are just like, fuck that shit. It is a niche of a niche, man. And so, you know, if you're going to spend the kind of money you need to spend to be AAA Twisted Metal, which I don't think most people would think you need to do this day and age, that's the reason why, right? They didn't. Vitaphone says turning a shooter into a vehicle combat game sounds like an auto fail. No. Because first off, they didn't. It's just not like that. The core game is still the core game. You can still compete against the cars on foot. The cars are very easy to dodge if they're trying to run over you. You can jump in other people's cars. You can win the game without the car combat at all. It hasn't just become a car combat game. And frankly, they just have car combat because they have car combat in it. And the other thing I will tell you about it is they've had being able to get in a car and shoot out for a long time, just like Warzone has that. Fortnite racing was awesome, says Tatum. It would be good as its own game. It is its own game. They've put it in there. It's called Rocket Racing, and you can play that as a totally separate game at the launcher, and it's really good. I guess the guys who did Rocket League did it. I don't know. But the other thing they've done, and this is really interesting. We'll get off Fortnite, but I have to educate some of you people because even people saying it's just kids playing. No, it's not. Please give it a shot. You're going to thank me. People thank me a lot when I recommend something and they're like, I don't want to fucking play that. And they eventually do and they go, okay, Jaffe, that's a pretty good recommendation. Hang on. My brother just said, look what I just bought. Let me see what he bought. I bet you it's one of those fucking Apple things. No, it's a new car. What did he get? Hey, that's cool. Okay, I'll talk to him later. He bought a truck. The point is, though, what was my point? I'm looking at my brother's truck now. The point is, Fortnite's not played by kids, and what's really interesting about Fortnite right now is that you can play it in no build mode. And no build mode is basically just a shooter. It's a battle royale shooter without any of the building. And what's funny is the game became a phenomenon because the build mode is what really differentiated it from PUBG. But now if you look at the player counts, the vast majority of people are playing zero build mode. And it's excellent. So, anybody who's staying away from the game because of I don't like building. Yeah, that's a minor option now. Why not just play Warzone, says One Winged Angel. That's interesting. I think I just find the world. I find the time to kill in Fortnite more interesting, more to my skill. It's just more fun. I do like Warzone, but it's just I don't know. It's kind of more. I don't know. I mean, I do play Warzone, but I play a lot more of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 straight up. And I play a lot more X Defiant these days than Warzone. Although today the servers are fucked up. Can't get on my PlayStation to save my life. But anyway, whatever. That was... I bring it up mostly on this particular stream because I know people ask me about Twisted Metal. And I'm just like, the fact is, there are people out there that just do not want to be in a car. They don't like car combat. They don't like guns on cars. They think it's weird. Why am I in a car? I want to be on foot. And that's cool. That's cool. But... they're a meaningful group. How many? I don't know. Listen to this. Speaking of Call of Duty, we already kind of knew this, but it's been officially confirmed. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be playable on Xbox and PC for Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass, PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass for console. Keeley, everybody's reporting this, but Keeley says, here's a reminder. Ultimate will cost you $17 a month. Console will cost you $11. PC only is $10. Game Pass Core, which I don't know if it'll be on Game Pass Core, is 10 as well. Now, I bring this up, because hey, it's cool news. I'm excited, because I love this. But I bring it up for a few reasons. One is that I'm fascinated by how this is going to, along with Indie if it's good, Avowed if it's good, is it going to make a difference to people if those games come out on PlayStation? Is there going to come a point where people start going, my God, I could be getting this for $20 a month? All these games. And I'm every game I'm going in the store spending $70. So I'm very curious to watch that play out. But beyond that, though, Black Ops has always had the best campaigns. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to play multiplayer Call of Duty. That's fine. I used to be one of you. I totally understand it. But the campaigns, when the campaigns are good, they're really, really good. The last Black Ops campaign was really, really good. And just so you guys know, I don't mean really good like, oh, dude, there were cool set pieces. It was fucking a mind fuck. I mean, it was like the guy, if I remember, was going crazy, and there was all this surreal shit happening on the battlefield and shit. It was really, really cool. And this is the same developer. I expect more of it. They dropped a trailer today, and it's a teaser. It's no gameplay, but I'm very interested in this now. The campaign. Because it's basically, you've got, let me play it without the audio so we can talk. You've got Clinton C.G. Clinton, Colin Powell, the first Bush, Margaret Thatcher. This is clearly now moving into, my young adulthood politics, right? The Gulf War is interesting because you don't have George W. Bush did the Gulf War, the first one. And so maybe it seems like this is happening a little bit before, but it is, understanding says the history in this one is so recent, it's going to be weird. I agree. I think Saddam Hussein's in this fucking thing, right? Is it going to be alternative history, or is it going to be a literal, this is how it went down, or is it going to be these secret missions that we don't know about that actually happened? I have no clue. But I love this take. I love that they're doing this take. I mean, this is, hell, who's still alive on this? Clinton's still alive. Thatcher's dead. Bush is dead. Powell's alive. So, I mean, it's pretty recent. It's pretty fucking recent. Machine says, can't wait to give it a shot. Also, now remember, it's on Game Pass. You guys have no fucking excuse, man. If you have a PC, or they just trust your Papa Jaffe. Not all of them are good. And I see Eddie Torres. Was Eddie Torres saying, I hear that this is like last year's campaign, it's just DLC? No, my understanding is this has been in production for 3-4 years, and it's by their premier team of Call of Duty makers. Eddie T says there was a PT-like section in Cold War. I don't remember that, but it's that kind of game. Powell died? Colin Powell died, you boy? Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. 2 years ago. Okay. Carlos says, I'll play Fortnite instead. Yes, whatever. This Call of Duty is the first one in a while that has had 4 years to develop, says Masochistic. Yeah, you got, come on, give it a shot, man. Or I'm going to play it. I'm going to stream it because, I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's move the fuck on. Batman Arkham Knight. This is tricksy. This is tricksy what's happening in the world of this particular game and the industry in general. Wait, hang on. Bad Robo says people are too used to their friends list on a given platform. They certainly don't change because it's on Game Pass. Plus, getting used to trophies in your entire game library. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not going to be an easy switch, and maybe they won't. Maybe it simply is not worth it. But there is crossplay. That's true. But he's talking more about the ecosystem in general, and there's crossplay, and really, when you look at the economy of it, all of these new games coming out day one, I could be wrong. I just think, I remember back to being a kid, and I just know if I walked into a goddamn store and my mom is like, wait, the ad says you can get those 4 games you want for your birthday or Hanukkah on Game Pass, and you want us to go out and spend like $300 to buy them all? What? It's hard to believe that that's not going to move the needle, at least in some way. But, we'll see. Okay. Let's come up with this. Now, I'm not interested in this because of the game. We don't know anything about the game. What we know is the guys who founded Rocksteady, co-founder Sefton Hill, Jamie Walker, they left Rocksteady well before Suicide Squad. One could argue, although I don't think it's come out, why they left. Like, was it because they were like, we cannot work being owned by Warner Brothers. This is not what we set out to do. Or who the fuck knows? But they said, we wanted to leave to do a new company. Okay. And word comes down today that Microsoft has stepped up and they've said, we're going to fund your AAA single player action adventure game. Done in Unreal 5. So it's an expensive, clearly, AAA Unreal 5 single-player action-adventure game. Which, you got to applaud the Microsoft folks for being willing to fund that. It's going to be real interesting, though. Wild Samurai says they left because the corporation, Warner Brothers, forced them to make multiplayer Suicide Squad, but they won't tell you that. I mean, it seems, reading between the lines in that particular case is relatively easy. And I think you're right, but I don't know that. But their new studio is called 100 Star. And I bring it up because the stuff we were talking about yesterday when it came to Ubisoft and their Star Wars, whatever it's called, the new one coming out this Christmas, and the guy from Ubisoft who used to work for Ubisoft and then went online to write this massive, very valuable thread about why, service games have taken over and why single player games are getting nickel and dime to blah, blah, blah. And I just look at this and I'm like, to green light that now, a game like this now, and to say, yeah, it's single player, none of the shit you guys left Warner Brothers for. If that was indeed, the intention, I hope they get to stay with that. But that's an interesting move, man. It's like, what could this game be? And it does it mean Microsoft wants to still fund those core single player gamer games? And I don't know. I'm just I want to keep an eye on this one. I'm curious. A says, am I the only one looking forward to Star Wars game? No, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't like the narrative trailer that dropped a few months back. I thought that was rubbish, but the overall game I thought looks great. I bring it up also because in the Rainbow Six Siege coverage, I didn't realize it was this old. This is what's amazing. And this is why, if you are one of these publishers, you can't ignore it. It's easier to ignore the hardcore vocal minority than the money. Rainbow Six Siege, it says, is approaching 10 years old, but it's still going strong. Back in March, right? 2 months ago, the game saw its highest number of concurrent players ever on Steam. I mean, think about that. It's 10 years old, and this is still taking up people's time in a meaningful, competitive way, right? So I can understand, even if you hit it out of the ballpark with this, you'll make a profit, but man, the minute people are done with it after a couple of days or a week or two, they move the fuck on. Maskista says, I'm a huge Rainbow Six Siege fan, Jaffe. The membership is 100% cosmetics. It doesn't matter. I know, that's what I said. I didn't understand why they were complaining. The only thing they said was, well, it's not free to play, and it's already heavily monetized with skins, loot boxes, and seasonal passes, but they're all cosmetic. My understanding is Rainbow Six Siege is one of the least not free, but one of the least pay-for-power games out there. I just downloaded it today because I haven't played it in ages, but and I don't think I'll be very good at it, but you never know. Yeah, you probably do know I won't be any good at it. Anyway, it is staggering to see that statistic. 10 years. I mean, my goodness. Right? I mean, seriously, let's think for a minute. 10 years ago, 2014. And this game is like one of the number one games of the last, 10 years. Multiverses coming out. Come on, good luck. God, you don't just have to make a great game anymore. Good luck to Helldivers. Good luck for anybody trying to eat lunch at that table. Because you not only have to be great and commercial and hit the zeitgeist, you got to get lightning in a bottle twice. You got to get lightning in a bottle because you're the service game that everyone's talking about right now. And then somehow you got to keep that momentum for a decade. I mean, my goodness. Right? Oh, I get it. I know. Oh, look at that. Witch has over 2,500 hours in that game. Goodness. Where did it go? I was looking for that comment. Rainbow Six Vegas was the peak. I mean, I was looking the other night, man. I was looking for a single player tactical shooter. And I know there's that one on PC that, the ones with like the SWAT guys, it's a weird title for a game like that. It's not called Don't Breathe, but it's like something weird like that. And, I was just kind of like, it's too hard for me, but I do remember Rainbow Six Siege or Rainbow Six Vegas, and I loved it. Fucking loved it. Ready or Not. Right, Kyle. That's what it was called. Don't Breathe. Shut up, Jaffe. Ethical Human Being says people who were not born when the game launched are now playing Fortnite. That's how crazy it is. Right. It's nuts, man. Maskissa says Siege has always been good from day one at its core. It was buggy, but the core gameplay has not changed. That's another reason, by the way. Rainbow Six Siege is really kind of the poster child for it launched poorly, but we kept at it, and it ended up becoming this mega fucking hit. Right? So I get why Warner Brothers is like, well, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's pull it back into the garage and work on it for a little bit, because it worked for Rainbow Six Siege. Absolutely. Is For Honor still going strong from those guys, or no? Because I know that had a surprisingly long shelf life, but I don't hear much about that one anymore. So perhaps not. Okay. Velma is low-key hot. Oh, yeah. Velma's not just low-key hot. Velma's high-key hot. Look at her. Where'd she go? Where are you at, Velma? Look at her there. Chinkies. That's what she says when she has an orgasm. Chinkies. I want to see her costumes, though. I only want to buy her if I can get some sexy Velma. Oh, okay. Well, no, those aren't sexy. Those are just kind of functional. I need a sexy Velma is what I need if I want to play this game and get serious about it. Right. The minute the sexy Velva shows up, I'm sure I'll get really good. Siege is too addicting, so I stopped playing, says Prince Green. My backlog kept growing because I was always playing Siege. There you go. I get it. And For Honor is still going very strong, says interesting. Okay. That Velma is not low-key hot. Well, it's just Velma. What Velma, it's Velma. She's super hot if she's in one of her little... Yeah, I'm not saying this, but you've seen, what I'm talking about. What's her name? Linda Cardellini. In the movie, she played Linda Cardellini. I would go for her over what's her name? Buffy. I don't remember her name. Whatever. Okay. All right, friends. Let's chat briefly about this. I was not engaged. I was in college when the first Nintendo World Championships came out and the Wizard came out with Fred Savage and all that shit. So I don't have fond memories or nostalgia for this. But I was interested in this because this has kind of given rise to this game that comes out in about 2 weeks, Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. And this was really off my radar, but what it is, and I only bring it up because I want to tell you about this Vita game that I was trying to get made at Sony. What it is it's about, I think there's like 30 old NES games. And it's kind of like, there was a Wario game like this where you basically play little small sections of these games to get a high score. Right? So it's like, okay, you've got 20 seconds to clear this room in Zelda. And once that's done, that's it. Then you go to the next one, right? And it's kind of just like you're trying to kind of do all of the little mini games that are built on the bones of Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Donkey Kong, blah, blah, blah. WarioWare, NES Remix. Right. Okay. So first off, I want this. This sounds pretty cool. But when we were looking for Vita titles, not Vita, sorry, PSP titles. This is how long ago it was. I remember I had this title I wanted to make, which was basically this, but it was movie trailers, right? So we had like 25 movies, and like one would be an action movie, one is a horror movie, one's a superhero movie, whatever. And each movie in the whole game probably had about 40 mini games, and they would be redressed for the movies. And it was really about, could you play the movie trailer, which was made up of these linked together, strung together mini games that were dressed for that story well enough that it created an opening weekend where the movie did well and you made your money back, right? That was kind of the idea of it. And obviously it never got made. I don't remember how far we got with it, but I always remember that idea fondly. I love movie trailers. I love mini games. I don't think it would have done that well, honestly, because I don't think most people love movie trailers like I do. I think they love Zelda, Mario, Metroid, and Donkey Kong a lot more. But that said, I wanted to share because it did joggle my memory. Kirby's in this as well. So yeah, this will be coming out pretty soon. This is how Nintendo makes so much money, says CR3D. They repackage ancient games that honestly should just be a part of the archive. Oh wait, they are. They have the straight up games in the archives, but this doesn't exist in the archives. Like you can't. I mean, can you play NES Remix in the archives? Okay, I don't Mutant Mo. I'm not that old that I remember cartoons before the movies, though. I remember Point Blank. I played that. That was a good game. Okay. Come on now. Bukaki says it sounds bad. Fuck you, but I want to ask you a question, Bukaki. Somebody sent me over on our Patreon because they know I'm trying to find some, a certain thing that I can take into my bodice with Colin when they're down here in September so we can enjoy machine elves, right? And someone sends me this thing that says, buy the type of thing it is, disposable vape online. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't know you could vape that shit, and I didn't know that you could buy it like that. So now I'm kind of going, is that shit going to work? Is that the real deal? Or is like, no, dude, you need fucking, you need the real fucking deal. Or is that the real deal? I asked Bukaki because he's he traffics in this world. And maybe he knows, or maybe you guys know, but I'm looking forward to it. I really want to go hang with the machine elves. Okay, Mr. K says you can buy vapes for it. Yeah, but do they work? Like, this is the first time somebody sent me a link to a place in Canada. And my question is this like, it's kind of like, oh, it's just like Ozempic, but, and it's not really, it's like, it's herbs and shit, but they market it like it's Ozempic. I just want to make sure I'm not doing that. New Killer Clowns game is out. Yeah, it's really interesting because I was very excited for a moment. It's sitting at an 8 out of 10 on, what's it called? 8 out of 10 on, okay, wait. Bukaki says it's not the same. If you're trying to blast off, you're better with okay, I got to look into that. Okay, my point though is 8 out of 10 on Game Informer. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then I go over to, okay, I got you, Moops. Okay, good to know. Smoking it would be better. Excellent. Okay, cool. So I go over to look at the Metacritic. Metacritic has it sitting at like a 60. Most critics didn't like it. It's from the guys, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's, I think it's like 7 humans, 3 clowns. It's from the guys, I think, who made Friday the 13th. Is that the one? Eddie says, why that IP? It has very little mass appeal. Oh, I know. Where is it? Let me show it to you real quick. Where'd I put it? Where'd it go? There it is. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You can buy it today and play early access. It officially goes live June the 4th. This is the Game Informer review. In the current state, Killer Clowns is a good asymmetrical multiplayer. The gameplay mechanics help balance competitive roles, reinforce the lessons IllFonic learned over the years from its other asymmetrical games, while its comical nods to the film and impressive graphics showcase the respect given to the source material. If IllFonic can iron out the bugs in the coming patch and provide solid post-launch content, it could become the best the genre has to offer. So I was excited. I was just like, hey, this is great. But then I go and it's like, yeah, no. 60%. Digital Chumps liked it. Everyone else is like, yeah, it's okay. But you just play Friday the 13th. You'd be better off. So I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see what the kids think. All right. We're going to talk about, what's weird? Again, I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining. But there are days where we get tons of people calling in. And then there are days like today and yesterday where no one calls in. Even though I have the link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. Isn't that weird? Help me understand the logic there. What is it? Why is it the topics? What motivates people to call and then just listen? I'm curious. Stoner Joe, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, I'm playing Tekken 8 and I'm listening. And I appreciate that, buddy. Stoner Joe was convinced, and I think remains convinced, that he was in the portrait. I'm going to show you what he sent me. He says, I'm in the portrait of King Charles. And I've seen what Stoner Joe looks like before. He's a nice looking fella. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Stoner Joe? You out of your goddamn mind. Well, this is what he shows me. This is the actual picture of the King Charles portrait. And Stoner Joe sends this in and says, look, I'm assuming he thinks maybe, is this what you think you are? Right here? I don't know what this is, but it's not you, Stoner Joe. I'm telling you, buddy, they didn't paint you into the picture. I think the picture's insane. I think the fucking picture's insane, but I don't think you're in it, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You need something like a meth pipe, says Mr. K. It's a glass pipe with the bulb on the end. If you go to a smoke shop, ask them. Okay, I'll just go in and tell them I want it. This is what I want to do. Help me figure this shit out. It is terrible, Bad Robo. I don't know why this was approved. This is like a horror picture. It's disturbing as fuck. Well, look at that now. I ask and, hey, I didn't mean to remove you. Call back, One Winged Angel. I'm sorry, buddy. Stoner Joe is a guy who's been part of our community for a very, very long time. I'm almost convinced he's not a troll. He's not playing a character. He literally is struggling with some challenges. And we just try to help him as best we can. He's a good dude. He's a good egg. But, nothing he's said is indicative of the truth when it comes to his perspective of him affecting the world. And I'm saying that for tough love, Stoner Joe, because if you are the real deal, I know you believe it. But I'm just telling you, it ain't fucking true. It ain't fucking true. Okay. Yeah, One Winged Angel, if you want to call back. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. I heard the picture flips and mirrors to show Baphomet. I mean, you can do that with anything, though, right? I mean, depending on where you flip it, where you slide it, where you scale it, you can make it look like fucking anything. When P Turtle calls, people call because it's like he's the first to get on the dance floor. Well, then maybe I should start paying P Turtle. People are like, do you pay P Turtle? Is he a character? I'm like, dude, I don't know where he comes from. He just calls in from time to time. It's very unusual. It looks like this picture looks like it was painted with ground beef. Oh, I agree. It's weird. Okay, let's talk about this. These are it's a thread on NeoGAF of the offensive video game ads that would be considered offensive today, but not in these days. Some of these make sense. Some of these I have questions about, right? So here's the Twin Towers with Microsoft Flight Sim. I want to say somebody said, if you try to crash a plane into a building in the current flight sim, like the game, if it is this true or is this like a myth that it can tell that you're trying to do that and it kind of shuts the game down or it turns it off or kicks you or something, or is that just some bullshit internet stuff? But this is an ad saying, hey, be careful, you don't want to crash into the Twin Towers. And then, when was this? This was certainly before 9/11, of course. So, all right, there we go. We got One Winged Angel. What's up, buddy? You got to turn down your thing in the background, though. Yeah, PG says that's what I heard as well. Yeah, but Toxmod says somebody lied. Okay. What's up? What do you want to talk about?
What's going on?
I'm doing a show. What are you doing?
Just enjoying. I don't fucking know, man. I'm on the spot.
Well, you're not on the spot. You literally pressed a button to say call.
Yeah, I know.
You put yourself on the spot.
I did.
And
what is? I don't know. Like, what's the subject? What were we just on?
I don't. Let me be clear. I don't need anyone to call. I'm just curious why they call in droves at times and why they don't call at all at times.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think you could be an intimidating guy sometimes.
I can be an intimidating guy. How am I intimidating?
No, you're not.
Goddamn right, I'm not.
You're my cool. You're the dad I wish I had.
How old are you?
I am 34.
How old's your pop?
My dad. Oh shit! I think he just turned 60.
All right, he's a little older than me. So why do you wish he was more like me? What's the problem with him?
No, I'm just joking.
No, you're not. What's the problem with him? You brought him up for a reason. What's the worst thing about your father?
Oh, I don't know, man. Well, recently we've been in a fine relationship. Growing up, it was more tumultuous. My parents divorced when they were like 30.
Don't back off of the word tumultuous. That's a great fucking word that makes you sound smart. Don't start it and then get shy as you get to the edge of the cliff and refuse to jump off into the water.
I'm also hitting my pipe, so it's like... But yeah,
okay, but as a kid, you fought why?
I don't know. Like, do you really... If we were going to dig into that shit... I
don't want to dig into it. I mean, how long does it take to give me like four words?
Childhood, like, my parents didn't really get along too well. They finally got a divorce at, like, I was 13, so that'd be like 2003.
And I heard this one-winged angel. Yeah, I heard they got divorced because of you.
Yeah, I probably was a big reason.
Oh yeah.
They would never say that, I'm sure, but
Can you imagine?
when
I got divorced. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Of fucking like behavioral problems, learning disabilities, shit like that.
Did they get divorced because, like when I got divorced with my ex, it was very amicable, and we're still the best of friends. I mean, was it like that, or was it like I hate this stupid son of a bitch, your father's a piece of shit kind of thing?
Yeah, like the next day I was in my stepdad's my mom and
she'd been cheating on your pop.
Yes, and I kind of knew, but not, it was just weird that it had to be like the next day. Like it went from saying goodbye to my dad at Chili's to moving in with my stepdad like the next day. So
who had been, so do you still have a is she still married to that? Don't answer. Yeah. I guess she is no longer with that man.
No, they're still together.
But they're very unhappy.
No.
God damn it, man. Let me fucking be psychic.
Yeah. No, they're fine now. But, I don't know. I just grew up with a whole fucking bunch of issues, so.
Do you think it began when your parents decided to take you out to Chili's?
I think it began when I was born. I don't know.
Oh.
According to my mom, I had like my umbilical cord was around my neck. I was like purple. I was like jaundice. I got some sort of fucking like strep something. So I was had like needles going into my fucking head. When you're a baby, they can't find an IV or whatever, like a fucking vein, so they have to like stick it in their head. You know, because it's the only place where they can find a vein on an infant. I don't know. I was literally born fucked up. Like I was like.
Okay, and you have carried that weight, and now it is time to set it down.
Yeah,
and
I don't
be
know
free.
Where this is like going anyway. So this is a video game show.
Listen to me. I saw this video. Yes, we're about to get back to games, but I saw this video last night. And it was creepy. I'm going to show it on this weekend's I Love the Weird. But it was this 13-year-old kid, and he was surrounded by people, men and women, who were full-grown adults, various ages, rubbing his feet, rubbing his legs, looking at him lovingly, touching. It was very disturbing. Yeah. And you know what he is? They say he is a reincarnated shaman or god or something from India. They believe that. And he's just a 13-year-old fucking kid who's trying to fucking be 13. And these motherfuckers, I mean, imagine the damage that kid's going to have.
Who's rubbing up on
all these fucking adults? Fuck it. I'm going to show it on the weekend, but I'll show you. You want to see it on the show right now? We're going to get back to video games, folks, but sometimes things are worth breaking the fourth wall. What are you talking about? Just shut up.
I always feel bad. Whenever I see that there's like a kid actor, I'm like, man, that they're going to be fucked up.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. If their parents aren't there.
Maybe it's gotten better. But
no, I mean, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It's bad shit, baby.
Yeah.
Hang on. Okay, so let me show you this. Here it is. They believe he is the reincarnation of a god who died 13 years ago. Okay, I'll make it big. I'm going to turn the volume down because nothing really goes on. Look at this. This guy's 13 on the couch. Come back.
He's going to get a fucking infection.
I mean, look at that guy. Just looking at him so lovingly. Okay. I mean, what is this? What the fuck is this horseshit? And they think he's that guy reincarnated. What the fuck's the matter with people?
What the fuck am I looking at?
I mean, you know.
What the fuck am I looking at?
I don't know, man. I know it's not about the video games. We're going to get back to that. Yeah, Movie Maniac says this is P. Turtle's origin story. I'm just saying, it's just look at oh my God, you fucking people are so gross. Like you're just sitting waiting for wisdom to come from this moron.
Goes for? I want to buy that and hang it. I want to hang that shit up.
That picture?
Yeah.
I don't know. It says they believe he's the reincarnation of a god who died 13 years ago. What a bunch of maroons. What a bunch of maroons. I don't like them. I don't like them. All right. I'm going to get back to offensive video game ads. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Okay.
All right. See ya. Well, that was a fun chat. See, I like chatting like that. Or why are they all white? Says, yeah, I know. I don't know. And I have never, I don't really believe in the traditional take on reincarnation, but I'm agnostic on everything. But it certainly don't work like that, is what I would say. Miggy, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. He says, Jaffe, Twisted Metal got me laid. Are you suggesting you took your penis and stuck it into the center of the disc? I don't understand how the game got you laid. My guess is it didn't. Maybe it did, though. That would be great. I'd love to hear your story. Let me know. Yeah, Machine says that dude's just sitting on the couch eating some Pez. Yeah, he's just like, what the fuck, man? Okay. John Romero is about to make you his bitch. This wouldn't have been that bad of an ad if he would have actually delivered. I've played this game again recently, Daikentata. It's not a bad game, but I'm not going to fuck with you. The frogs, I'm not fucking with you. The frogs in that game, the first two levels were so fucking overpowered, and they blended in so much with the environment because they were green and the environment was kind of greenish brown that I just couldn't make it bright enough to be able to actually see it. But no, there's a lot of interesting stuff in this game. Which X, if you're watching on YouTube, there should be a pinned link at the top of the chat. That's what you can click to call in. This is this Command and Conquer. It's a great feeling, and it shows Hitler, with all of his troops. This was when I first got into games. I mean, it was all, really overt and just dumb. Hey, look, 13-year-old boys, we know you love games and you think girls, they're pretty. Here you go. Size does matter. I don't know what that's all about. This one has always struck me as bizarre. If you're not looking at your screen, it's a lady. She's attached. I want to say tied, but I don't know if those are bungee cords, but she's attached to the bed. And it looks like she's potentially ready for some sexy time. I don't know, because she's dressed in like a... I don't have to make this any bigger, whatever. She's dressed in... that you could possibly argue that's like lingerie or whatever. And the thing says seriously distracting. And I think what they're trying to communicate through this is the Nintendo Game Boy Pocket is so distracting that even something super sexy like this is not going to pull you away from your game of Tetris. Okay. I don't have a problem with that message or with that ad. I have a problem with two things. The guy isn't even there, right? These hands are not in the shot. It's like this separate thing. But the bigger thing is, it looks like she's a hostage. It doesn't look like she's hanging out ready for some sex and she's pissed off that he's distracted. It looks, look, there's no sheets on the mattress. It look right. It's weird. It looks like she's like being held for money or something. So this one is, this is an odd one. She doesn't look like she put herself there. Right. Yeah. It's a very strange ad. But this was Nintendo. This lets you know how crazy it was back in the day. Previous high scores from Command and Conquer. And then it's got all of these dictators and murderers and horrible people. I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off me. Now, I did not notice the penis in this at first. I noticed her, of course, and I was like, oh, I get it. He's so into his game that she's so hot it doesn't matter. But it's only like a few years back when I was first looking at this thread where I was like, or a thread similarly, where I'm like, oh, that's his dick. Like it lines up like that's his penis, basically. Okay, I get it. But at least this one looks like she's dressed. She's ready for the lovin'. She put herself there intentionally. This isn't the 80s, CR. I think this is the 90s. Look at this one. This is Sega. the more you play with it, the harder it gets. This is what it was, man. This is what it was. This is what was the height. And it was like, yeah, man, that's fucking cool, man. You're playing with your penis is what it means, but we're going to call it a joystick. Do you get it? And nobody was complaining. Nobody was sitting around going, that's offensive. They were just like, yeah, it's cool, man. I don't know why this is on here, but Lara looks better flat screen. Look at that. Twin Towers. I've not seen this one. Oh, I know there's no sound. Wow. Yeah. No, I didn't want the sound because I didn't know if there was any licensed music or anything. Wow. Yeah. So, more action than your horny dog in Heat for Dead or Alive. Here's the Dead or Alive beach volleyball ad. Let's look at that real quick. Mature. What's funny about that one is that I'm trying to remember when that was. Like, it was probably 97, right? And back then you still had the internet with porn. I never understood how people were like, now spend money if your main reason to spend money is to see naked ladies or hot ladies. It's like, dude, you can see that everywhere for free. The way to a man's heart is through his ribcage. I don't think that's offensive. Tell Santa you want balls for Christmas. Oh, come on. Whatever. This is crazy. But this is Stevie Wonder took a check for this. Stevie Wonder said, okay, no problem. If you can't see it, maybe you're like Stevie because he's holding a controller. And it says, Stevie Wonder says, if I could play video games, you bet it would be Atari. And he's sitting there holding an Atari controller. What the fuck? Again, I don't know if it's offensive because he's choosing to do it. Right? He's choosing to do it. Hello, Rizzle Chris, Rizzle Sis. Hello, sir. Yeah. Mr. Taka. Oh, this was great though. This was a great game. This was the first time I ever saw a video game that had mini games that were story, that were kind of narrative based. It was called, what was this called? Incredible Crisis on PS1. And I just thought this was delightful. And I had hoped that there would be a whole genre of this, but not really. Mr. Takahiro is personally accountable for programming fun code. If you and your friends aren't completely freaked out with fun, then he will be fired. This will dishonor his family, which he can only restore only by taking his own life with a sword. And he's a Japanese dude. Come on now. No, Magnum, it's not so much that you're offended now. The Stevie Wonder ad is fake. Too cool. Really? Oh no, I was so happy. Oh well. The point is, as it relates to this one though, or wait, where did it go? Yeah, this one. I lost my train of thought because I'm disappointed. Incredible Crisis is great though. Give it a play. Sometimes you miss out on so much of what woke actually is, making fun of a disability. Look, you guys are nuts if you think there's a big difference here. Okay? Do you think I can't appreciate a good disabled joke? Of course I can. But the only difference is, you have, for me, if you are a blind guy or a fat guy, or whatever it is you're making fun of, and if you're part of that tribe, I have zero problem with it. And if you're punching up, I have zero problem with it. But if you're somebody, who's abled and well off, and you don't have a lot of challenges, and you're making fun of someone who's blind or disabled, I think I don't think you should not be able to do it. It's a fucking free fucking country. But I do think it's a little insensitive and cruel. I think there's a balance. You can be a kind person. You can advance your thinking as you get older and as society gets wiser. And you can still have that and be able to laugh at really terrible jokes that are offensive but are still really funny. Yeah, the ad's okay because it was made by a deaf guy. I think at this point people just push back so much that they forget the value of why a lot of these movements started, because it was hurtful for a lot of people. My favorite joke about Stevie Wonder, I want to say it was Eddie Murphy, who said, everybody's talking about Stevie Wonder being so great. He's such an artist. He's such a genius. It's like, you want to impress me, Stevie? Here, take the wheel. That was pretty good. There's a lot of good jokes but it's not my place to make them, but I'm not going to pretend, oh, that's not funny. No, it's really funny. Hell, I'll tell you something real quick. Now, this is terrible. And as I've gotten older, let me see if there's any more before I tell you this real quick, but, I'm not going to go through the whole thread. You can find this on NeoGAF, though. Jesus Christ. It's the thing from one of the bad ones. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't fly today. Look at that girl. She's sexy. She's got a battle cruiser 3000 AD in betwixt her legs. Are you sure you want me to wear this? Okay. People were offended by this. I don't know. This is just like a James Bond movie. Sexy lady gets assassinated. What? That's weird. Okay, whatever. You can see it all. Domestic violence. Ha ha. I mean, no, domestic violence isn't something to laugh at. Of course not. But at the same time, it's not an unfunny joke. Okay, what I was going to say, though, is okay, CR3D real quick. I'm not going to get into politics, but I'll answer your question because I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Jaffe, how is becoming super sensitive and living in an echo chamber progressing towards anything other than living in a fantasy world? This is the problem with people on the other side of the argument. They are convinced that they are 100% right, and the people on the woke community or whatever are 100% wrong. Because the very language that you use to ask your obnoxiously condescending question is indicative of somebody who isn't actually really interested in anything except having it all his way and no one else. Because you're saying, how are people becoming super sensitive and living in an echo chamber progressing towards anything other? Well, I assure you, they, like you, don't think they live in an echo chamber, and they don't think they've become super sensitive. Okay, so you're basically saying, how is it that a killer can murder someone? It's like, well, because you just described him as a killer. What I would say is, if the healthy thing to do is be able to be self-aware enough to recognize and identify that as a society, as we advance, there is value in beginning to view the world through the eyes of other people and people who don't have all the advantages and disadvantages that you do. And that there is a lot of good that comes from that. And at the same time, be able to recognize that you can't take the desire to be a good person too far, but you can take the dogma of that to such a degree that it stops benefiting anyone and actually starts harming people. Okay? So the idea that it's got to be black or white, I'm sorry, but that's a stupid view. It's an absolutely stupid view. There is value to these movements, or there has been value to these movements. But there are also, I think, some people have taken certain aspects of it too far. Oh, CR, you're an idiot. I love how he says, all right, just move on. You're not going to be honest. If the only definition of honest is me telling you what you want to hear, and that's what you call honest, potentially there's a reason that you are so myopic and lost in a your own echo chamber. All right, let's move forward, shall we? That's it. That's all I got for today. That's all I got for today. What do you guys want to talk about for a little bit? Okay. You're not being honest with what I'm asking. You're what? Okay. Here we are. We're an hour and 40 minutes into the chat. I got a little bit more time to talk tonight. I will talk about whatever you guys want to. Doesn't have to be games. It can be games. Answer any questions. You can call in. The phone things, not the phone, but the link is up top. But if you're only here for video games, which I get, which is what the show is, thank you. I appreciate it. I will be back during the week at 5 o'clock Thursday, Friday with something. It probably won't be a live show. I will be doing lunch with Jaffe tomorrow for members of all tiers and mods. That'll be over on our Discord. And Saturday is a live I Love the Weird. But pure live video game shows this week are going to be a little difficult because there's a lot of behind the scenes. No, I'm not leaving. I'm just saying what I never want to do is when people come here for the game stuff and we pivot off to something totally different, which we can or can. It's up to you guys. You guys direct the conversation now. I just want to let people know that this is kind of where that has officially stopped, and I'm no longer worried about going out of the coloring out of the lines now. So thank you if you're here for the games. That's done. We're going to talk a little bit more, whatever the chat wants to talk about or call in about. So there you go. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about? Ethical Human says, can we talk about piracy? Yes, but you got to be more specific. Well, what would you like to discuss specifically? I am asking you, says CR, plain and simple. If you live in a place where you never have to hear things you don't like or deal with assholes, how is it benefiting you? It's not. That's not what you wrote. But yes, I think there is value in being willing, or at least if you're not willing, being appreciative eventually of having been pushed out of your comfort zone. I think that's great. But ideally, it's something you willingly take on. But sometimes you can't help but be pushed out because you go out in the world and you experience things that shake you to your core, and that's how we grow, or one of the ways we grow. I'm down. It's great. Jaffe, I can't stop playing Cartel Tycoon, a game where you have to build a drug empire. Does that say something about me? Well, Movie Games has a game coming out in June, Drug Dealer Simulator 2. And the first one I was surprised to hear was a real big cult hit. And so the second one's a lot better. And they just added combat to it. I was so glad to see they added like melee combat and shit like that. Equality already reached, not equality. Not equity. Equity is a moral and a fool's errand of a goal. Equality is already. You got to be specific. You're speaking in bumper stickers. These people think by censoring the world and making it a safe space for everyone, this is somehow progressive. Yeah, I don't. I think there are people out there like that, but I don't think anybody would suggest that that's sort of what I'm talking about. Kyle S. It's Jaffe. What's going on, bud?
Not much. I was talking with regards to the piracy question.
Yes.
Is there a formula that these studios use where they're like, man, if we charge like say $80, there's going to be more piracy versus if we charge like $60, we might get more sales, but we're going to make less money? Or is that a major concern, especially with like the sales every like summer, spring always has
I guess it depends. I mean, the number of people that are pirating console exclusive games, I would imagine, are much lower than the number of people that are doing it on the PC side. I could be wrong about that, but it seems a little bit harder to run a PS5 game on a computer at the level that would be satisfying, but certainly not with PC games. I'm sure it comes up, and I'm sure it's somewhat factored in, but it's probably factored in at the level, like anytime we would make a game, we would provide the budget to the appropriate people. And those folks would look at it and they would say, okay, we think this game is going to sell in this range. Now, obviously you can over-deliver, under-deliver, but they're like, based on our experience being in sales marketing, this is what we can expect. And thus, this is how many copies based on your budget you're going to have to sell, and thus, does this deserve a green light? I assume that they're factoring into that this is what we think it's going to sell, some percentage of sort of contingency, which probably would include in that bucket piracy. I know it includes returns. So yeah, but I don't think it's like, here's what I'll tell you. Used game sales back in the PS3 era were factored in meaningfully. Like, that was a big conversation about, are we going to green light a single player only game? We need to put multiplayer in Ascension, God of War Ascension, because people may want a new God of War, but it's going to sell, then it's going to go back to GameStop tomorrow, and we're not going to see any dollars for the used sales. But I don't remember piracy in the console space ever being one of those main factors. But I'm sure it was, though. But not as big as the other ones, though. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, no, I was just curious, and then, you factor in. Well, I always think once you sell the game, you've made the money on it. Like, what do you care if they keep returning to necessarily play? Versus like, all right, hey, if you finish the game in 5 hours, like, now they seem so focused, like, oh, we want to continue them playing for like months on end.
Yeah, but that wasn't back then. You didn't have a lot of sort of never-ending single-player service games. It was like, you bought God of War, you were one and done. You bought Uncharted 3, you were one and done. I mean, there was some multiplayer and stuff, but most of those games were clearly built from the ground up to satisfy a single-player itch. And when you could take that game when you were done and sell it back to GameStop, and then they could sell that same game maybe 10 more times in its life, and they would see money, but Sony would only see money, or Microsoft would only see money based on the initial sale, then there were a lot more people playing the games than were paying for the games. So you could argue that that was legal piracy, and that it had the same effect. And in that, on console, that's what, accelerated the digital marketplace a lot faster than it probably would have, because, GameStop didn't want to do anything to sort of help the publishers, which was not their job, but it ended up sort of accelerating their own demise, or where they're heading towards, is what I would say.
Well, at least with that quote-unquote legal piracy, they got the upfront costs initially, versus, piracy, they get nothing.
Yeah, well, again, yeah. Ultimately, there was nothing illegal about what they were doing, but the effect was the same. People, and I never faulted the gamer for this, people are going to go where they can get the best deal. And it's not like buying a used car where, people buy used cars, but the degradation is a meaningful thing. Me buying a disc that runs, my experience is no different if it's been played 20 times than your experience if you got it out of the original shrink wrap. And also with used cars, there was a used car market a lot of times that is still makes money. Like Ford would have a used car lot next to the new car lot, but the money still went to Ford. And you don't have to do that. And I don't think anybody in the industry ever complained like this should be illegal, but it certainly cut into business in a meaningful enough way that it brought about change.
I'm sure there was an article or interview you can find somewhere.
Well, they're idiots. Yeah. All right, Kyle, thanks, buddy. Good to talk to you, man.
No problem.
There's my nephew, Daniel. What's he saying? He's talking about, I saw that. He says the lowest box office results over Memorial Day in something like 30 years. Are theaters on their last legs with direct streaming becoming the standard? Yeah, I think, you know me. Good God, Daniel. I was going to the movies 2-3 times a week when I was still living in Birmingham, and when I went out to SC to learn to make movies. I love the movies. I love the theater going experience, but I tweeted this the other day. It's very similar, at least I think, to the arcades, right? There was a reason to go play video games in the arcades, even though we had home consoles, because the home consoles at the time couldn't compete with the latest, game from Capcom or Midway or whatever. But somewhere around PlayStation, probably at PlayStation, you could get not just technically better or good enough, but you could also get a lot of better games and longer games on home. And so it killed the arcades. It wasn't that, I still have fond affection for the arcades, but the movies are dealing with the same thing. It's like the screen size for most people doesn't matter compared to the cost, compared to less of a burden. You know, some people, I've never had this experience, but a lot of people say, oh, it's awful to go to movies because people are on their cell phones and this, that, and the other. I don't really see that when I go to the movies, but clearly that's a thing. So the movies are fucked in terms of exhibition. Yeah, because there's nothing they can offer. The only thing they could do is a deal with the studios. Like I said this the other day, it's like if Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, you know, Scorsese, although how much longer are him and Spielberg going to be working, let alone alive. But anybody who still really can move the needle in film, if they sign a deal and say our films have to run in theaters first and they cannot go to streaming for a year, okay, then I think people would go, okay, well, I want to see the new Spielberg movie. I'll go see it. But even that though, there's not a lot of filmmakers or stars that really matter anymore. So I don't think we're going to see theatrical exhibition like it is for much longer. I think we'll always have like, hey, come to the park and we're going to put on the digital version of Toy Story for the start of 4th of July or whatever for the family. And so you can watch it with your community. But yeah, I don't think the days of everybody going to a movie and having a collective experience, it's hard to see why that would survive given the landscape. Which X says research has shown that people that pirate games most weren't even going to buy them in the first place. They're actually not losing a sale. You don't know that though. And even if that's the case, that's like saying, well, here's what I can guarantee you, WitchX. I am never going to buy a Ferrari. Even if I was rich enough, I would never buy a Ferrari. But does that mean that I'm allowed to steal it and it should be okay because they didn't lose a sale? I mean, that seems weird to me. That excuse always seemed odd to me. Okay. Stoner Joe, thank you, buddy. He says, would you admit that James Holmes inspired more shootings? What would the person who inspired him be? James Holmes is who? I don't know who that is. You don't have to pay for your answer. Please don't do that. But remind me who, or somebody in the chat, who is Jimmy Holmes? I don't know who that is. Okay. Let me bring on, here we go.
Hello.
Turtle. What's up?
What's going on, man?
We're talking about piracy and we're talking about who's James Holmes? Do you know who that is?
I have no clue.
I guess he's a killer, shooter. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I wanted to respond to what you were talking about with the movies and how theaters are dying. I think you're being disingenuous and you're absolutely wrong. Movie theaters are dying because of woke trash that's being made. Look now. I don't know if Deadpool, Wolverine, whatever that movie's called. I don't know if it's going to be woke, but that's a movie with two white leads that everybody likes and have liked for years, and that movie's breaking records.
Well, it's not breaking records. It's not out yet. Well, I explain it because it is a movie.
It broke ticket records for purchases. What is it? Pre-ordering, whatever the hell it's called.
Okay, but let's wait and see when it comes out. But I think it's going to be a huge hit. But not because it's not woke or it is woke, but because because Barbie was woke and it was a huge hit.
Barbie was woke and it wasn't woke at the same time.
Okay, whatever. Let's stick with Wolverine for a moment though. Right. People love Ryan Reynolds when it comes to this character. They love Hugh Jackman. The Wolverine movies, especially Logan, has a great place in a lot of people's hearts. It's one of the few Marvel stories that is not like, oh, you've never heard of the Eternals. Well, you're going to love this. It's like you got to work really hard to bring people into something brand new. People know Wolverine. People know Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Kids came up. You're telling me they don't?
No, you don't have to. People don't mind new things. People don't mind established things.
Really?
So people have lost trust.
But no, that's not true.
The filmmakers and in the industry.
That may be true in terms of in general, but it's not true in terms of why one movie fails. Like Fall Guy came out and failed. The last Mission Impossible came out and failed. That was a great fucking movie. What the fuck was woke about?
That movie was horrible.
The last Mission Impossible?
Oh, Jeff, you have really bad taste in film.
Okay, well, I and all the critics and user reviews, that's like sitting at like a 97%. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they also like Miss Marvel. That was not a good movie. I liked some of the Mission Impossible ones, but that latest one was trash.
I don't even think you saw it.
Are you kidding me? I went to the movies to go see it.
Do you remember? Okay, what about the scene where she burned all the bodies?
I watched that movie. That's the one with Captain Britain, right? The girl that plays Captain America's love interest,
Haley. Are you
Altwell or whatever?
You're talking about Mission Impossible, the latest one, Dead Reckoning 2.
She was like a hacker, right?
I don't remember who. I remember Rebecca Ferguson.
And they
so
had
it is
Spanish guy that was the main villain, and they retconned the whole origin.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember it because they all blend together.
I saw that movie more than you saw it.
I only saw it once, but what I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right now, 96% fresh, and the audience score is 94%.
Yeah, it's being rated by Access Media people. That you can't.
Not the audience score?
Oh, the audience score? No, the audience is stupid.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is, are there movies out there that misjudged the public's desire en masse to embrace concepts that are, yes, which of course, join, that embrace concepts that might be too progressive leaning or left leaning? Sure. Just like there are movies that the right really loves, the left won't go to.
What?
But to suggest that the reason... What?
Like what? What? You got to give me an example of that.
Of which one?
Of right-wing films that left people aren't going to go to.
Okay, there was that movie recently about a year ago that was about the child traffickers that was all like
Freedom, that movie made tons of money.
It did not make tons of money for P. Turtle. For what it was, it made tons of money in the same way.
I believe the budget was like $30 million.
Well, this is the part where if I was as educated as you, I would say I schooled you, right? Because what you do often is you take two different things and you shove them together. There's a difference between it being profitable and the question you asked, which is name a movie that the left rejected because it was too far right, and that Sound of Freedom is one of them.
Can I do something that you usually do to people?
Yeah, what's that?
What evidence do you have to suggest that? Because I know people from New York, the weirdos that live in New York that went to go see that movie.
Okay, well I'll tell you the box office numbers and the budget.
It made over, I think, close to $100 million, right?
It made okay, well actually here you go. You're right on this one.
Undefeated, baby. Go ahead.
This is why it's impossible to have a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
It was the 10th highest grossing movie in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So it did very well.
Oh,
I was wrong.
Why?
I was wrong.
Because people don't like woke trash. Can you
so Barbie
play Jesus Christ did so well? Why did this movie that came out of nowhere with such a low budget do so well?
Barbie somehow is woke, but it's not totally woke. So that gets a pass. I see. Let me find out.
It's a contradictory film. Barbie was a movie that they got two really good looking leads, leads that everybody likes. And then they decided to tell a story that's woke.
Okay.
But they were pulling people in just because you got the perfect looking Ken and Barbie. That's
okay.
What the girls were
I want you to tell me woke or not woke. Let's play a game. Woke or not woke. Okay?
Let's do it.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, woke or not woke?
Woke.
Number 11th grossing movie of 2023.
But it also didn't make its budget back.
Oh, now you're adding this. Okay. Elemental, the Disney movie, woke or not?
Movies.
We're talking about movies.
Yeah, but we're talking about movies that failed at the box office.
Elemental, the Disney movie, woke or not woke?
100% woke. It ended up doing better than
the number 10 movie of the year, according to this. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo. How about this one? The Little Mermaid, woke or not woke? The remake with number 8 movie of the year made.
It lost its money in the box office.
That's just bad accounting then.
The problem
they spent too much money on it.
The problem is you're trying to compare something. You're trying to compare genre movies to The Sound of Freedom. The Sound of Freedom made tons of money, more than it should have, and not Barbie. Little Mermaid made far less than it should have. Far less.
I'm not suggesting it didn't. What I'm suggesting is, though, that the number of people that will go to a movie that you call woke is still enough to outsell the number of people that will go to a movie that you call far right. The ones that tend to do the best are the ones that can straddle the line. If you look at Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, it's impossible not. I mean, that movie is a brilliant expression of being able to make everybody in the audience feel like that movie was made for them.
You're trying to compare, and let me just say this: you're trying to compare something like Little Mermaid. Now, again, a lot of that budget goes into marketing. Where the hell was the Sound of Freedom marketed?
It was everywhere. It was all over social media.
Can you pull up the marketing budget for the Sound of Freedom?
Sure. But again, now you're talking about something different.
No,
though.
Because you're trying to compare Disney marketing to something like...
No, I'm not. I'm trying to tell you just ticket sales, the number of people who went and chose to see the motion picture show.
Can I ask you a question, Jaffe?
Yeah.
If The Little Mermaid had resembled the character from the cartoon, the animated film, I mean, do you think that movie would have done better?
Hang on. I'm looking at the... okay, marketing budget. Crowdfunded with over 6,000 small investors. So it's like a $5 million marketing budget.
Oh my God. Now compare that to Little Mermaid where you have to damn near double the budget.
I understand, but you're talking about something different. Now you're just talking about...
I'm saying with that kind of money towards marketing, you're going to get more people to watch your movie. It's more exposure. And it still failed. You're getting absolutely schooled.
All right. Let me ask you this. As a black guy... Black Panther. My nephew's asking. Black Panther, was this woke or not woke?
Absolutely woke. It
was woke. Okay. Number one movie that year, but you thought it was woke, huh?
Well, no. When that one came out, that was not during Disney's demise. The first one. The second one where it was all women or whatever, I know that one made money too, but that movie made more money, I think, due to the curiosity of what they were going to do with the character.
Okay.
But that movie made less than the first movie.
By the way, the person asking me in the chat, why is the Sound of Freedom considered far right? I've never understood that. It's not that in RN4L says, how's a movie about child trafficking for the right? Again, this is the disingenuous horseshit that I can't handle with. No one in the world, unless they're fucking creeps, is suggesting that child trafficking is only an interesting and important issue if you're a conservative.
No,
but the movies...
It is something that conservatives and Christian right conservatives obsess over disproportionately.
But can I also say why it's associated with the right wing? Because Jim Caviezel, that's his name, right? Jesus Christ? He, a few months before that movie came out, was talking about adrenochrome and seeing that in Hollywood. And
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God, Jaffe, you got to do that on I Love the Weird. Basically, that's like a chemical that's extracted from children that are being tortured by pedophiles and elites in order to. And
it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Adrenophone.
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome. Yes, from the it's not from kids. It's from the pineal glands, but.
Yeah, but they say it's best. It's most.
Are you out of your mind? Do you really believe this QAnon horseshit?
That's not QAnon horseshit. That was before QAnon. QAnon is a 4chan psyop.
You really believe that the horror of pedophilia, which has been around since the beginning, tragically, is because a bunch of Hollywood elites are looking to harvest some.
Now you're accusing me of. Now you're doing something that you accused me of.
I'm just Googled it, and that's what it says. The dark virality of a Hollywood blood harvesting symptom. That's what I'm looking.
That's the only way pedophilia has ever been done in life. I'm just saying that's what people talk about sometimes when they bring up adrenochrome. And Jim Caviezel did. He said he saw it in Hollywood. So when he did this interview a few months before, he was pretty much ousted by Hollywood, and then the right adopted him. He's a conservative.
Vitaphone works in Hollywood. Vitaphone Go.
Vitaphone, give me a job.
Oh God, as what? As what? The most
actor.
Annoying guy on set? We need one of those. We need a new grip, a new best boy, and we need an annoying guy.
I think you're
Harvey Weinstein's in jail. Let's get P Turtle. All right,
what? About to get out soon.
P Turtle's already doing what he's meant to be doing. He's a character on a call-in show. But
there you go.
Yeah, I mean the whole woke thing and not woke. There's some truth to it adding to the demise of Hollywood or the theatrical experience. It is turning off and splitting. I mean, when you're making a product, an entertainment product, the last thing you should be doing for a mass-produced product is injecting anything divisive into it. So whether or not you agree with or disagree with whether that's certain types of movies that's appropriate for, but that's not really what's killing Hollywood. That's just the nail in the coffin. When you look at like ticket sales, which if you took like say Ghostbusters from 1985, that movie made something like 260 million in the box office. At that point, when you adjust for the price of movie tickets for how many tickets were sold, that works out to like 1 in every 3 Americans went and saw that movie in the theater. And at this point, now we're looking at more like 1 in 70 people are seeing even the biggest of films when you do that math. So it's, I mean, the consumer just doesn't really value something that they have endless access to for $9.95 a month anymore.
And that you can, sit in your echo chamber at home and you can watch exactly the kind of thing you want to watch, whether it's a movie, a show, a YouTube, a podcast, whatever. That's the main thing. Absolutely. And the cost.
But the cost isn't really the real, that's side. I mean, discretionary spending is up 3 years, concurrently 3 years, the last 3 years. So it's literally the consumer doesn't see the value in a product that is, the market's been diluted. You don't have to put anything into seeing movies when you used to have to get into your car, go to the movie, go to the video store, and
But you don't think the cost is a additive to the resistance or the friction of going out of the house to see the movie?
Hell no.
No, it's not. It's really not.
You go on Tuesday.
I mean, people spend more on coffee, in a week. Like,
right, but if it's not offering you anything, like people will spend $1,000 for a Taylor Swift ticket,
sure,
right, and they can watch her at home.
That's a waste.
But the experience for the people who like Taylor Swift, it's worth it. But right. I think I'm a big movie fan, but my experience watching Dune 2 at home on my TV is just the same as the theater for me. I understand, but what I get out of a movie, it's just the same. And so I don't, the friction of the money makes it like even less likely that I'll go. But I'm trying to think of, Daniel says lots of qualifying statements to P. Turtle's initial premise of woke versus not woke. It sounds more like his argument is centered around marketing budget. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, the number 2 movie, the number 1 movie of last year was Barbie, and it was a woke movie. I'm sorry if you want to pretend it wasn't, but it was a very woke movie, and it was, I thought it was great, of course. But how do you, was that just an anomaly, Vitaphone? Or do you, I think people just like good movies that are well written, that are interesting.
I don't think that movie was well written.
I agree.
I'm saying that just from a screenwriter standpoint, not from.
Didn't it get a nomination for best screenplay?
Who cares?
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that in that it sounds like perhaps Vitaphone is in the minority of people who are judging the quality of the screenplay. But continue.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, people just. When the markets, we still saw what happened in the music industry. We're seeing what's happening now. It's now coming to bear with films, and this was a small, I guess, hitch for me on Game Pass, which is the effect at the end of the day when a consumer doesn't have to invest anything into a product, because we have dumb primate brains. If we have to sink time into something, we inherently tell ourselves this is valuable. There's an old trick, if you want somebody to like you, ask them to do you a favor, because they'll say yes and they'll go, oh, I must like this person. A part of our brain when we, it's the whole sunken cost fallacy, why people will continue to watch shows that they hate if it goes to garbage after years, because I've been watching it for 3 or 4 years now. We're not that complicated. And when you flood the market on any product, we just We stopped.
Well, I think, look, no matter what some of the co-stars of the problem are, I think there's no doubt the number one problem, regardless, is, it's the minute, good enough is good enough. And that applies to anything. That's why McDonald's sells more than a high-end restaurant, makes more money. That's why ABC sitcoms still do better, probably than, maybe that's antiquated, that data, but you know what I'm saying, that a big mass market Jim Belushi sitcom will still do better than a really smart, interesting show on HBO. That's why pop music is always pop music, popular, and will do better than the alt music channels. I mean, that's...
But Jaffe, can I say something?
Always the case. Yeah, what?
Even Bob Iger came out, as you've said many times, it said they've
okay,
gone too far with the book.
It's got nothing to do with what
believe-
we're talking about. We're talking about the friction and good enough being good enough, and that's the most, at least according to Vitaphone, and I agree with him, that's the reason we're seeing the end of movie theaters. And I do think movie theaters are going away.
I believe it's...
Along with it, all big budget movies will go away too.
I think it's been pure woke stuff. I think if you put white leads, if you put a lot of stuff that's not as divisive in these movies, people will go see them. And
Okay, so let's go through it then. The last couple of failures, everybody talks about, oh my God, why did what's it called? Fall Guy fail. It was really well reviewed, supposed to be a really fun time at the Motion Picture Show house. I didn't see it. I'm looking forward to watching it when it's already streaming, but when it comes to like $5 to rent on iTunes. Why did that fail?
I told you already.
You couldn't be whiter. You can't be whiter than Ryan Reynolds and Emily Blunt.
No, it's not about that. People have lost trust in the movie industry now. They're
Okay, so now it's that. A second ago, the previous point was that it was, hey man, if you just put white people in the movie, it'll do well. But now you're saying it.
Okay, there's steps to this. You have to gain their trust back first, right? And then you have to go back to making movies the way you used to, where it was the story, the characters before everything, not the message. Did you just hear about the guy from Jaws? What's his name? Something Dreyfus.
Oh yeah, something. Dreyfus.
Right,
yeah.
he knows what he's talking about.
He's an idiot. But anyway,
he's
continue. Let's not. God, all you need, man, is some ADD meds so you can stay on topic. Let's stay on topic,
My
bitch.
bad.
Come on.
You're right. I am pretty scatterbrained. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that it's like, on one hand you say get white people. They got white people that didn't open. What's the movie before Fall Guy that people are upset? The industry's like, this didn't open either. They're complaining now that Furiosa didn't deliver this weekend.
Why do you think they had to put Mad Max in the name of that movie?
But, well, again, I haven't seen the movie. I thought Fury Road was great. What's that?
What did you think of the phone? Was it good or not?
Most people liked it.
It was good?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I like Fury Road, but that movie was woke too. But I actually enjoyed it.
How was Fury Road woke? What was woke about it?
Was there not an underlying woke message to that movie?
Sorry, what? Do it again?
Vitaphone, was there not an underlying woke message to that movie?
To Fury Road or Furiosa?
For Fury Road.
No, I don't. What? I mean, it's got a strong female protagonist, but I mean,
first of all, it did what a lot of these movies are doing right now, where it took the main character, it marketed the main character being Mad Max, and
that wasn't even Max, was it? Was that Mad Max?
Yeah, Mad Max.
Who did he play? Was it the same character or was it a different character?
Hardy played Mad Max.
It was the same guy that Mel Gibson played, though. It was in Thunderdome. It's the same dude. Okay, yeah, okay.
So they took that character, pushed him to the side for Furiosa, and then a lot of the story is about environmentalism and
how is that woke?
And in what's his name? Morton Joe is this warlord who keeps women locked in chains and impregnates them, and he wants his property back. I mean, it was. And then you had the women kicking ass left and right. You had old women kicking ass in that movie.
Okay, so anti-slavery is woke, and
his property and
environmentalism is woke. I mean, you're just an asshole. Why don't you just own that? And it's like it's one thing to say this was pushing a certain specific political agenda, but not wanting the planet to become a dust bowl and not wanting people to sort of be cows to breed.
Am I the first person that you ever heard say that Fury Road had a woke message?
Me or Vitaphone?
Vitaphone, because Jaffe, we know what you think.
yeah.
term wasn't around in 2015. That term starts to take off.
Well, the terms was around for a long time, but
I've known
70s,
about this woke stuff for way longer than 2014. It really started with Black Lives Matter.
okay.
And that was like 2013 with the whole Trayvon Martin thing. That's when all this stuff started to come into be. I had looked up Black Lives Matter's policies on their website. I saw that they cared more about trans people and women more than they cared about black men who were dying, and that's how they even got into the game. And then the three Marxist leaders of the group were women, and their dads were, one of the main woman's dad was a Jewish guy. She was adopted by a Jewish family, and they're funded by George Soros.
Well, Pete Turtle, look, man, let me ask you this question. Do you believe in the free market?
No, I really don't anymore, because the free market is now being controlled by these private equity firms.
Well, the free market is controlled by the public who decides what to buy and what to consume. And yes, you can argue that they are manipulated.
Now these properties can fail and they can still be a success because of the investment.
I understand, but do you believe in the free market in the sense that if there are people out there that recognize a niche that they're like, hey, I can fill that and make a lot of money, that still is a real thing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if what you're saying is true, and there are all these people that are dying for this sort of right-wing view of the world in their entertainment, then where is it?
The right-wing entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, you've got John Schneider and Chachi and the guy who played Hercules. I mean, where are the people who are like, look, man, I'm just in it. I mean, you guys always want to go off on the Jews and money. It's like, okay, let's say the Jews, all they care about is money. Where's the Jew who's like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about any of this. I just want to make some fucking money. And I know if I fucking make a red meat, you know, and there's a little bit, like if you can look at that, what is that show that people loved on Paramount, the 1814 or whatever the fuck it's called, with Kevin Costner, and it's all in the West and shit. But short, you know, I mean, there is, you know, where is that
well, it goes back
initiative?
Back to what you said. I don't know where those people are. It seems that right-wing people are less creative. They care less about the arts. But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me that all this woke stuff that's being pushed isn't suffering. Are you going to tell me movies and video games are doing better than ever?
Yes.
Oh, what?
Define better on video games. Are they making more money than ever? Yes. Is there more variety up and down the budgetary chain? Yes. What are you talking about?
Almost every. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it doesn't mean that there aren't some people who are suffering from that, but in terms of the monetary intake, it's yes, they're doing better than they ever have. Absolutely.
So Microsoft is better than it's ever been?
I thought I saw numbers that game sales are down compared to this time last year.
I mean, if they're down, it's like 1%, and it's not really. It's not a sea change. It might be like a, you know, but no, games do very well. Now people, and it's like, yeah, studios close, but that in a lot of ways is similar to your argument about the movie theater experience, in the sense that Vitaphone's argument, in the sense that, you know, we were talking on the show earlier today. People have been playing Rainbow Six Siege for 10 years. And as of March, it was the most concurrent players they've ever had, 10 years after it launched almost, right? So when you come out with a game today, it's not that gamers aren't out there playing and spending money. It's just that it's easier for people to say, I already got my service game. I already got my shooter. I'm not going to try X Defiant, or I'm not going to jump into Multiverse. I'm good with Brawlhalla that's been out for 10 years as well, or whatever.
I'll split the difference. Games are not doing good. Gaming is still fine.
Ooh, there we go. That's what I was going to say.
As in, you got these studios that are dropping left and right, and you got less games being, at least if we're not talking indies, you got less and less games being put out year over year. So I think gaming, people playing games, is probably doing
right. If you look at the top 10 trending games on Xbox and PlayStation.
Wait, what are you saying is not doing well in games then? Because what you just described is that you've got a lot of people playing games, more people, and the people who are making successful games are making a lot of money.
If you're playing a game for 10 years, you know, as opposed to 10 years ago, you're playing a different game every couple of months if you're a hardcore gamer. Now you're you're sticking to 1 or 2 games a year, and I think that.
So yeah, but what's bad about that if you're the people who make that game?
If you're the people on that team, but if you're the people on any other number of teams that would have been greenlit for another.
Okay, so you're just talking about the industry struggling with the new world order of service-based games ruling the roost, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean that gaming is worse, because there is the indie market, there is the AA market, there's more variety than there's ever been. But certainly at that level, the games that make the most are the lightning in a bottle service games. But it's got nothing to do with being woke.
More people are playing older games than ever before.
Say it again.
Wasn't there an article that just came out recently that more people are playing games that are like 6 years old?
Yeah, absolutely.
But why is that if the gaming industry is doing better than ever? You would think there'd be this growth and there would be this so many new.
There are new games in the indie space, but you're applying
go ahead.
You're applying a definition of doing better that is not the definition I'm using. I'm talking about the money that's being made, the variety of games that are being made, and the number of people, whether you're talking a cell phone game or the latest and greatest virtual reality headset, the number of people who are playing video games is greater than it's ever been. So has it shifted in terms of how the pie gets broken up, and it's only going at the big level to a certain number of service games for the most part? Yeah. But that's a different conversation. That doesn't mean games have gotten worse. It just means that if you like the big budget stuff, you're getting less of it, because it's too expensive and you can make more money doing service stuff. But my God, in the last month, you had Animal Well, and you had Crow Country, and you had
those on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yes, both of them. And Animal Well is free this month if you have PlayStation Plus.
I don't even have a PlayStation anymore.
Well, then shut up.
I would say it's like, if you're in a small town and Walmart opens up and demolishes basically every retail outlet, but all you have left is like surf shops and like specialty shops that do something that Walmart doesn't do. And you go, well, in this town, there's more money being spent in retail. So it's like you can say that retail is doing better than ever. And
that's what I'm saying. What is your definition of doing better? If you're saying gaming doing better means more big budget video games, then I would say, yeah, it's not. But I don't think that's because of wokeness. That's because the budgets have gone up to $300 million, and chance taking, whether you're going to take a chance on a red meat right-wing game or a super left purple hair lady game, you're still going to have a lot of concessions made to get that $300 million.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I would say about the wokeness quote problem in Hollywood is that really when you dig into it, there's a lot of people that come out of college, young people in the industry that believe everything that they believe in whatever messaging they're trying to infuse, but that's kind of not really the problem. The reason that so many things have been greenlit that could be considered problematic if you don't buy into woke stuff is basically the industry in a death spiral trying to invent a fifth quadrant, going, well, people are not going to movies the way they used to. Let's try this crap. Let's try to reach them. Let's see if that's a new quadrant that we can, because there's a thing called the 4-quadrant movie for people who don't know. And so it's basically they've acquiesced to hoping that this fifth quadrant would develop, and it just hasn't developed. It hasn't helped push the needle, and it's turning a lot of people off. But
I just want to say this is why gaming is dying, because people like Colin and people like David Jaffe.
It is not dying, you fucking moron.
This is why. Well, you know what? If we want to get technical, the creativity within gaming.
Here's what you get. Here's where you and I can meet on the battlefield as pals and play soccer on Christmas Day, like Paul McCartney did.
Celebrate Christmas, but go ahead.
I don't either. Although I actually do. But I don't. It doesn't matter. Only because Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas is the worst movie ever made. But that said, though, I will agree with you on big budget AAA gaming is probably creatively at the most uninteresting it's been since we had big budget AAA gaming.
Right.
But I don't. But that's an important caveat. AAA gaming, because you could argue that short of like every now and then, like when you get like a whatever those eras or chapters of Marvel were called, you know, AAA movies, big budget movies are usually pretty shit too. Not always, but you know, because you. But it's not because they're woke. It's because you've got a lot of people who are having to, you know, it's widgets now more than it's ever been. It's always been a business. It's always been a business, but it's always been a business. But you had those executives back in the day, even up to the 70s, that were still fans and understood the art form. Now it's just a bunch of guys that they don't give a fuck if they're selling the next season of Game of Thrones or if they're selling the next Indiana Jones movie or if they're selling widgets and soap. They don't care, right? And I don't mean that like they're evil. It's just that that's not why they're in those seats. I mean, Vodafone, you would know. You're in the industry. Am I right or am I right on this?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the big shift in the 80s and 90s where, you know, Coca-Cola and GE get into buying the studios, and, you know, your boardroom is no longer made up of people that can't work their way up the industry. It's made up of people that know how to increase stock price, you know, and that's all they care about.
Vodafone, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You say you're a progressive, right? You're a liberal?
Yep.
Are you
those are different
voting for Biden in November?
Yeah.
Oh my God! How could you do that?
Hang on a second before we derail into that. Can I ask you what is the name? What is the name of that thing that they're getting from kids' blood or something? What's it called?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
Okay. They just delivered it. So where do I put it?
Oh, I know you got it.
Right here? It's going the neck, Pea Turtle, or where do I
drink it from like a little vial?
I drink it. Okay. All right, just checking. And what's going to happen if I do that?
You probably finally get up and exercise.
Well, then that sounds great. Bring on the adrenochrome.
Yeah, you'll throw the Ozempic in the garbage and you'll go.
Well, why would I not want it then?
Because it's not good. You know, I want cheeseburgers every day, but that's not good for me.
A drug that makes me get up and exercise is not good for me?
Yeah, it just requires kids to be tortured and mutilated and bled. So you can go and get up and do some push-ups.
Can I tell you what's really sad though? We all know you play a character, Pete Turtle, but let me be clear.
No, but he knows. Vodafone knows about this.
You are as real as Tony Clifton. Go look it up, bitch. But here's the point.
Tony Clifton, I swear to God, I am real.
Here's the point. Okay, there are people out there that actually believe this horse shit. That's what's terrifying. That is what's terrifying. That people really believe that. Now, as for Biden. My brother tells me that RFK Jr. is a fucking crazy man. I've never really listened to the guy other than just I think his voice is cool.
Oh, his voice is the worst.
I love it. I think it's really cool.
Sounds like an old lady.
Yeah. It sounds like he's like eating glass or something. But anyway, the point though is that I will watch a speech of his or something because maybe he'll take my vote away from Biden. But right now, you goddamn right, I'm voting for Biden.
Didn't they nominate that the gay guy? That
What party?
The Libertarian Party.
I don't know if they've nominated anybody because aren't they considering letting RFK Jr. have the nomination?
They were going for what's his name? Oh, I forgot the guy's name. The guy who was pro-vaccine, pro-lockdown. I'm sure somebody in your audience knows. A crazy guy that they ended up going for.
I don't know. I don't understand why it matters if he's gay, but you know.
But Vodafone, so you're voting for Biden. You like Biden.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I'm voting for Biden.
Yeah, I like some aspects of him, but yeah, he's not the best candidate.
Hear about the diary from his daughter?
No. Maybe.
Vodafone, did you hear about the diary?
I haven't heard the latest.
Oh my Lord!
Is it like at the end of Doogie Howser when Doogie Howser would type on the computer like, "This is what my day is like that"? Or what was it about?
So his daughter's diary. What's her name? Ashley Biden. This was like 3 years ago, by the way, that Project Veritas actually received her diary. And then the FBI came. They got it from James O'Keefe and everything in the diary, which you can read. It's all been published, and it's a fact. It's hers.
Well, just get to it. What about it?
She talks about possibly being molested by Joe Biden. She talks about.
Let me ask you. Hold on before you go any further. Who says in their own personal diary? That's a private thing that you write for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Who nebulously says something that maybe my dad molested me?
Because
the
way she wrote it in there was that the way her life was going at the time when she was young, that she had a lot of these problems that she felt were due to molestation. And she went to talk to a therapist, and they said they believed she might have been molested. Now, here's why she believes Joe Biden did it. And this she says for a fact. She said that Joe Biden used to come in at an older age, even up until a very old age of hers, in the shower, and he would always get in the shower with her without any permission, and then she would actually get frightened. So she would stop taking showers and take it at weird times of the night where she knew he was sleeping. And
okay, so let's do this. Let's do this for a minute. Let's assume for the moment. Joe Biden is molested his children.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody disagrees with that. Do you think the left who want to vote for? I would still vote for Biden over Trump.
I bet you would. You're a progressive weirdo.
It's got nothing to do with that, because what you assume is that the reason I'm voting for him is if it turns out it's true that he molested his daughter.
No,
and what I'm saying is
somebody like that not to,
because the option is Trump, and we've already seen Trump.
What? You believe E. Jean Carroll's story?
Okay, so wait a minute. Why do I have to believe the diary and the adrenochrome? But that's, valid.
Do you believe E. Jean Carroll's story with Trump?
Here's what wait a minute, bitch. Wait a minute, you little cocksucker bitch. Listen. What I am saying to you, though, is that all of these, everybody's got an agenda is certainly in this fucking industry of politics, right? So I would not put it past people to be making up stories and lying about Trump. I would not put it past people to do it about Biden. That is what they do. These are people that will clearly murder whistleblowers just to make sure Boeing's stock price doesn't collapse,
those guys are
right?
dropping like flies, man.
What?
I said those guys are dropping like flies.
Right. So the idea that, Biden's exactly the kindly old grandfather. Come on, you don't get that far in politics without burying some fucking dead bodies. But Trump is the same, man.
No, hold on.
So at that point, I'm simply voting for policy. I can't vote for them as humans. They're all crooked.
But my problem is, why don't you know this, first of all? And second of all, you're telling me you believe E. Jean Carroll's story. This woman went on CNN and said rape was sexy. I
am saying I believe her story because the only thing I really have I don't have tons of faith in the jury system, is I think there was a trial and the jury said that yes, we don't have evidence that she was raped, but we have enough evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that he sexually assaulted her.
No, this was like 60 years ago. What?
I wasn't on the jury. I wasn't privy to the evidence. I'm just telling you what I'm telling you why I'm inclined to believe it's true, because you've got the jury thing. I don't know this woman. I haven't looked into this woman.
Let me ask you this. Why do you believe you haven't heard about the Ashley Biden diary?
Probably because the people who would report it are so far right of my politics that even when they have something good to report that's real, that's important, I assume it will hit something like the Associated Press, which tends to be pretty middle of the road, because I don't really like to be over on those channels unless I have to and I feel that I'm not getting the true story. But now with Grounded News, which for only $9.99 a month, you too can get. It's a great service. Grounded is great. But I don't. Fuck you, you piece of shit, Swift Geyer. Jaffe only watches left media. What did I just say? I go to groundednews.org or whatever the fuck it is. They cover the right, they cover the left, they tell you who owns what paper, who tends to lie about. Come on.
Grounded.com or whatever it's called. Why do you think they didn't report on this?
They might have, but you said this was 3 years ago. I didn't subscribe to it then.
3 years ago is when the diary was taken by.
I did not see this news.
Like 2 months ago.
Look, here's the deal. I didn't see the news. You bring the news to me now, and if I do a little research and it looks like it's true, okay. But if there are pictures of him murdering a dog, man, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care because the alternative is worse.
It's a guy who will lie just as soon as he won't just lie. Lying is bad. Lying is when you know what the truth is and you obscure the truth with some level of respect for what the truth means in a conversation between two people. Trump is a bullshitter, and that's somebody that will just say whatever comes to mind at any moment. He doesn't care if he contradicted himself 5 seconds ago. That's not somebody you want in a position of authority. It's not somebody the reason why the Senate and the House has become a Jerry Springer show at this point is because we live in a post-Trump era, an era where you can run for president, and during the presidential debates, you can troll people in real life. And that's not healthy for discourse. Even if he's right, even if everything he says is right, that's not good for civil discourse.
But this goes on the left too. Literally, Joe Biden.
I don't know anybody on the left.
Jaffe, can I get a word in?
Oh yeah, P Turtle, because you've been so silent. I feel bad for you. It's almost like, you're like a woman in Iran right now. You just can't express yourself unless.
Get this out, goddammit.
Yeah.
So, Joe Biden's vice president, Kamala Harris, literally said she believed when they were during the debates. She said she literally believed Joe Biden sexually assaulted a woman who, remember, she came out and accused the woman.
I have already said to you that if it's true that Joe Biden molested a woman or a child.
I'm getting my point, Jaffe. The point I'm making is that these people will say and do anything to win office.
No, they won't.
Literally, his vice president, Joe Biden's vice president, literally said she believed he sexually assaulted a woman.
Great.
And that's his vice president. And then he only picked her because she's black.
Yeah.
Which he didn't say it.
What do you think we're talking about? The fucking Jesus come back to earth, and you're surprised that these people aren't honest?
But that's my point with Vodafone. Like, all these guys are bullshitters.
Yeah, so all you really can do is look at policy. All you can really do is go, what is it about the bills they've passed or that they've fought for, and what are you okay with and what are you not okay with, right? If Trump was harmless, I would be with the people who are like, oh, he doesn't mean it. He's just a kooky guy and he's funny. He is funny. He's hilarious. Mm-hmm. But he's a dangerous psychopath that also happened. Charles Manson was funny.
He was great.
But,
and he recorded music. They got his music on YouTube.
I'm sure they did.
Never heard his music?
He wanted to be on the Beatles.
Yeah.
Did he really?
But
all I'm saying, though, man, is that if you look at some of the things that Biden has done, I mean, look, I was there, as were you, with COVID with Trump. It was staggeringly surreal to hear him talk about how he felt we could deal with COVID. It was staggering to hear the leaked tapes talking to Bob Woodward, where he said, oh, I know COVID's terrible, but of course I'm going to lie about it. He said this is on tape because I don't want to scare people. It's like a million people died. So, I will tell you that if you want to vote for Trump because you genuinely like his policy, then great. I don't agree with you, but, do with that what you will.
Most people who vote don't vote based on policy.
I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you why I'm voting.
I know, but I'm just saying, if more people understood what Joe Biden was doing and accused of, do you remember when the videos were coming out? This was even on CNN.
You're not going to convince me to vote. If you want to convince me to vote, if you want to convince me to change my vote from Biden, you're going to have a very hard time doing it. Comparing his evil to Trump's evil, you're going to have an easier time. You're going to have an easier time to take my vote away by convincing me that RFK, for all the crazy, may actually be a genuine good person who, yes, he's a politician, but his policies are going to make a brighter difference to more people in the country. But, you know, and RN4L says 70% of America loves his policies. Great, then vote for him. You know, it wasn't 70% in 2020, but maybe it'll be this year. I don't care. I mean, I care, but it's like, vote for the guy. Just stop being such assholes to everybody. What I'm telling you is, you should be able to stand up and say, I like these policies of Donald Trump. And be a fucking adult about it and just be okay with it and still be able to say, yeah, but he's a fucking nightmare and he's dangerous. Just like I can say, I love the policies or some of the policies of Biden, but if it turns out that he molested people and sexually assaulted people, then he's a creepy piece of shit. And I hope when he gets out of office, or maybe even when he's in office, if they have evidence of it, they put him in jail.
Sure.
But if you're voting for anything other than policy, you're the problem.
Who, me?
Everyone.
Oh, you're the problem. You go to biased places to get biased news, and then
I go to Grounded, you motherfucking idiot. Yeah.
It's clearly biased.
It's not biased.
All I want to say, this be the last thing I gotta go.
I doubt that.
I'm not voting either way. I'm not voting for Trump.
Oh, boy.
I've never voted in my life, and I never will.
Of course you've never voted. You don't play video games, but you like to opine on them.
I don't play video games.
You don't play shit. You don't even own a PlayStation.
You know what I'm playing right now?
Oh, God. Here we go. What?
I only play fighting.
Is it Custard's Revenge on the Atari 2600 when the Native American woman's tied up and being raped? That game?
No, I'm playing Vanquish right now. You ever play Vanquish?
Alexa, stop. Vanquished. Oh, yeah, that's a great game. That's a great game.
Platinum game. It's a great game. I'm playing that right now.
It's
you can check my Xbox.
Oh, God, no. The last thing I want to do is have a connection with you more than this on social media. It would be terrifying.
Are you kidding me? We are friends, my friend.
I love that you were upset that Colin Moriarty didn't know who the fuck you were. That was the best. That was the best. Like you, Stoner Joe has an excuse. Stoner Joe is like, you know, a little bit schizophrenic. I mean, he said that. He's like, may have been diagnosed as such. You are just out of your fucking mind, though. You literally, why would Colin Moriarty know who the fuck you are?
My issue is not that he didn't know me. My issue is that, Jesus, you say you're Jaffe's friend and you don't even watch his shows. Because if you did,
I don't watch most of his shows. They're 4 hours long. I'm doing my own shows. I like his shows when I watch them and when I'm on them.
I think you've watched more of his shows than he's watched of your shows. And let me ask you this.
Maybe.
Does he subscribe to your channel or anything? Like, does he pay the monthly?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There we go. He is using you, and you're not using him.
You know what? You would be wrong, but let's just say that every time I go on his shows, which have huge ratings, I get new followers, and there's also other advantages. But that said,
that is true.
That said,
my only issue is like, oh shoot, if you don't know me, you must not watch the show.
Let me talk to your girlfriend. Let me talk to her.
She's not here. She got school tomorrow.
Well, what, is she living at home with her parents?
Yeah, she's not going to live with me until she graduates.
How in the fuck are her parents okay with her going out with you?
I don't know. I have a good job. I'm smart. I'm a high IQ individual. I'm a truther. I know what's going on in the world, so I can keep her safe.
9/11 was an inside job or no?
Of course. Vitaphone, do you think it was an inside job?
No.
No.
Oh. I think it was used as a false flag, though, but I don't think it was an inside job.
What?
I think it could have been. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just don't think it was.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair response. Vitaphone is less confident in things than you are, Jaffe. You say it with such a smug attitude, like you know everything.
I don't. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Like, this is what people don't understand. I'm exceptionally intelligent, and in that, I'm rarely wrong. However, when I am wrong, like, you were absolutely correct today when you talked about The Sound of Freedom. I had no idea that motion picture had made those kind of ducats. And so when I am presented with evidence, I go, oh shit, I was wrong on that. Sorry about that. I have no problem being wrong. I'm just exceptionally intelligent.
Well, then what do I have to be if I've literally come on here for about 6 years and have schooled you every time?
You have to be less delusional, I would imagine.
I'll say this. I'll give credit where it's due. I think Vitaphone is more intelligent than me slightly, but he is. And I think, what's my guy's name? Dr.
A bag of moldy bread is more intelligent than you, P. Turtle. I have literally spoken to mannequins at the guy. It makes no sense. But just go away from the call knowing you're an idiot, please.
All right. Listen, thank you for having me. You know, I love you guys.
I love you as well. Listen, congratulations on your girlfriend getting out of kindergarten, man. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's hard to get the shapes. There's a lot of shapes. All right. See you, buddy.
All right. Later, guys.
I don't know, man. I feel like I need a cigarette now. All right. I'm out. Vitaphone, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you hanging out. Which X, were you going to call in or not? Are we done? Are we done with the show tonight, fellas? It's 8 o'clock here in the West Coast. We want to keep talking? What do you want to talk about? We got to, you know. Yeah, there's a parent-teacher conference tomorrow. That's right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. You're high? Good. That's the best time to call in. Let's go, Witch X. We've seen you on the chat for a year. Get in here. Call in. Let's go. I could too, Donald. Donald says I could use some adrenochrome now. Yeah. Jaffe, what would Biden have to do for you not to vote for him? If Trump is running, I mean, it would have to be, I mean, we would have to sort of expose the fact that he has policies that are as dangerous as Trump's or as xenophobic as Trump's. Diet Coke. Do I want to talk about the Mike Tyson Logan Paul fight? I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it. I mean, it's a brilliant marketing scheme. My understanding is, and I don't mean this like I have some skinny. I think it's been made very clear that this is not an exhibition. This is a real fight, which means hopefully it won't be like the last couple Tyson fights that were just like nothing. And of course, I'm tuning in as a kid of the 80s and as a big fan of Mike Tyson's heyday. I'm hoping to see him beat the fuck out of Logan Paul. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think De Niro's an idiot. I'm sorry, you know. What do they have to do to get De Niro to get him to act more like an idiot? What do you want? You know, this is the divisiveness. Aren't you? Let me ask you this. Now, I know for a goddamn cockadoodie fact, I know that my childhood, kids of the 80s and the 70s, there were problems, but you're a kid, you don't notice them. So I'm not an idiot with rose-colored glasses going, it was better when I was a kid. I get it. But I get there were a lot of people that were marginalized and they weren't having a good time. But so I'm glad we've made some changes, and I hope we keep making them. But aren't you guys tired of being, don't you see what's being done to us? Like when you literally Zeke write De Niro, what do they have to do to get him to act more like an idiot than he is? I assume what you're talking about is when he came out today in New York and introduced the two cops that prevented, or were cops that were there on January 6th that were part of the, stopping the guys from getting into the Capitol, or at least trying to. And I'm just like, you can believe, I guess, in January 6th. I think it was a nightmare, but I can't we just, be okay going, oh, that's this guy I know. He's pretty cool. He's got some weird fucking ideas, in my opinion, about certain things, but I don't want him to fucking die. Aren't you just tired of it? I mean, I'm not saying it like I'm trying to take the high road and like, let's all be nice. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it more like, aren't you just bored? Maybe it's my ADD, but aren't you just bored of the fighting? And aren't you bored of it even more because you can recognize that a lot of it exists because we are being manipulated in order to monetize people in the 1% so they can keep making more money? I mean, I'm just tired of it. And again, I'm not saying that like I'm great. I'm tired of it. I'm saying it like literally, I'm so tired. I was reading this book. I opened the chat talking about this book that I'm reading. And again, rose-tinted glasses, right? But it's such a good book to me because I lived it, that my dog shit on it. And I bought another copy, The Last Action Heroes, right? About all the movie heroes of the 70s and 80s, okay? And I just think back to those days, right? And we had issues and we had problems. But it was just like, everything wasn't so fucking... there were things that were serious, but it wasn't everything. And even people, I disagreed with, I didn't hate them. And I don't know. I'm not, again, please don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to take a high road. You guys know me. I don't even know where the high road is. I'm just saying that I'm really bored of it. I'm just fucking bored of it, Jaffe, can you lay out, well, let me get that in a second. I haven't seen The Sound of Freedom. The reason I am saying I considered it far right is because the marketing seemed very far right to me. And also, by the way, one of the producers ended up being caught as a child molester. But again, I haven't seen it. I'll watch a little bit of it, and I'll give you my review of it, and then I'll let you know. But I've not seen it. So that was just sort of the take. Can you explain how you drifted into being super woke? I have always been this way. I stood out in front of the movie theaters in high school and protested the protesters for The Last Temptation of Christ that didn't want it showing in Birmingham. I yelled at them. I got on the news yelling at them. I have always been a supporter of LGBT rights and marginalized people's rights. I have never not been this. What you struggle with, I believe, is the assumption that to be like this, you also can't enjoy things like violence, jokes, overt sexuality in media. Like, people are like, you'd never make God of War now. I'd make God of War exactly the same with better graphics. Sex, violence, all of it. I love it. Fucking love it. But I also think, there was absolutely nothing. I mean, Daniel's in the chat. Daniel, have I always been like this or not? Daniel and I grew up, I mean, he's my nephew, but my sister's a lot older than I am. Sorry, Nikki. And, I don't know how much, my oldest niece is like 7 years younger than me. Okay. So I'm telling you, I've always been this way. Where was this in the 90s or 2000s? What do you mean? Where wasn't it? What have I said here today that I would not have said in the 90s is what I'm curious about. I'm telling you, I'd make God of War the same. The only thing I probably would not do in my games today that I did then is be okay with the Statue of Liberty being played off as a joke because she was fat when you took her clothes off. That I wouldn't do now. I wouldn't fat shame somebody. And back then I did, because I just thought, it's funny, she's fat. It's funny. We don't like fat people. But other than that, no, I do exactly the same. Yeah, Daniel was there. He says, same old Papa Jaffe, nothing's changed. Thanksgiving was always exciting. Well, that's probably more my brother's doing than mine. I at least try to get along with everybody while still being able to have conversations. My brother's just like, fuck it, I'm scorching the earth with this one. Exactly what you are saying. Know why you aren't... What? Be specific, man. Exactly what you are saying. Know why you weren't saying this then. What? Yeah, the TM2 Easter egg. Yes. 85. Toby Moss says, I think you can poke fun at anyone. You can. But I don't want to anymore. I'm not saying you should go to jail for it. I'm not saying you should be canceled for it, whatever the fuck that means. I'm saying that for me, I don't think it's a funny thing to make fun of someone who's fat. Being fat as a fat guy in fun. You think I don't know I'm fucking fat? You think I don't know how uncomfortable it is and how negative I get treated? I mean, I'm pretty cool with it, and I don't get treated poorly, but I know a lot of people do. And I don't want to be that guy anymore. But that's not woke. That's just me not wanting to do something that I've had an epiphany on. What about Poseidon's princess dying under the gear? I didn't work on that game. Again, are you asking me, would I have done that? I don't have a problem with Kratos killing women, and I have no problem with women dying badly at the hands of Kratos in order to show that his goal, at least in that time in his life, was all about getting the goal done, and any means would justify the end. I do wonder if I would have been comfortable merging the sexuality of that, because she was naked, and I think you had just had sex with her, maybe. I don't remember exactly. I might have been uncomfortable merging the sexuality of that with the execution of that. Like, I mean, the literal death of that character. I don't know if I would have been okay with that. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think so. Yes, I mean, when I say how uncomfortable it is, I mean, it can be physically uncomfortable to be overweight. Yeah, Eternal, really? You think I don't know that? Eternal goes, the Statue of Liberty isn't a real person, though. Really? Oh my God, it all makes sense now. I get why you were laughing. As a guy who was there when the joke was birthed, let me tell you, the joke was, ooh, look at the Statue of Liberty. I shoot her enough and you get a good payoff. She's a sexy lady in a bikini. I wonder what happens if I keep shooting the bikini. Maybe it'll come off and I'll see her naked. Shoot. Oh my God, gross. She's fat in a bikini. What could be worse than trying to merge something sexy with a fat person? That was the joke in 1996. I don't think that's funny anymore, but I don't care if you put it in your game. I don't care. You guys act like, you know, I'm telling you, you can't do it. I don't give a fuck what you do. I did see the Lizzo bit in South Park. I haven't watched the whole episode, but I saw that bit. I thought it was funny. Yeah, there you go. Daniel says it's a shame that people often conflate wokeness with just being nice to people. I know. Lizzo, I'll tell you, man, I like Lizzo's music, but she really shat the bed, man, because her whole persona was based on equality and being kind and this, that, and the other. And then it comes out that she's just an asshole behind the scenes, not to mention possibly a sexual assaulter. We have become a less, more racist. What? Have we become a less or more racist society since the emergence of the SJW? I actually like Lizzo's music. I think it's really good. I don't know. I mean, I think people's behavior has become more in the spotlight. Fuck you, Eric Lynn. I don't even know what that means. Can you have sex at the Pride Parade? You know, I think so. Do I think that more George Floyd is happening? I wouldn't know that, but I can tell you that we see it more because we have cameras. I can tell you that I was there in LA during the riots when the riots kicked off because the cops got off scot-free with Rodney King. But I as a white guy, white presenting, you anti-Semites, whatever. As a white presenting guy, what I can tell you is I don't know if I'm the person to say if our society has gotten more or less racist. How would I know that? I don't care if a cop pulls me over. Not because, I didn't do anything wrong, but because even if I did, unless the cop's just out of his fucking mind, my skin color is not going to play into it. And I know there are black people that will say, well, that doesn't happen to me. I'm sure it doesn't. But are you saying that all the other black people that complain about that, of which there are a number of them, I don't know if they're majority, minority, or right in the middle, are you saying they're just lying? I don't know. to me, Wayne B says, I thought Jews are white. I thought Judaism was religion, which is why Sammy Davis Jr. can be a Jew. I never thought that Judaism had anything to do with anything other than the philosophy of following the Old Testament. However, if you want to talk about ethnicity, my dad was from, or his people were from Eastern Europe, Lithuania, and my mom, who the fuck knows, like Native American, German, French, whole, so I'm a mutt, but yeah, if you want to say, oh, well, ethnically part of you is Jewish, okay, sure, I don't care. Fact is, as long as I don't have to go to temple and listen to people talking about shit, I mean, I don't mind listening to them talk if I can debate them, but if I just got to listen to them, trust me, I hated that shit. My dad was such a great dad for so many reasons. One of the ones is he let me sneak Archie comics into temple. And if you don't know, now you know, this is what they still make these. They were called the Archie Double Digest, Archie Digest, right? And they were really small little books, right? So you could slip them into the prayer book. And so I would be in the temple and they'd be talking about some such or 10 commandments and burning trees and I don't know, but I'd have this snuck into the goddamn thing. And my dad was just like, yeah, just do that. I don't care. He's a good dad. He's a great dad. I love my dad. Okay, let me go back to this. You still buy Archie for the kids? Yeah, that's the stuff. Do you let them read it in church? Think about this for a minute. Think about this. Now that we got Daniel here. So I'm raised Jewish, but I give up Judaism in any religion when I'm 7. I still have to go to temple for appearances because my grandparents were clearly had a say in it for some stupid reason. My brother, I think he's an atheist, but he was raised Jewish. My sister was raised Jewish, still is Jewish. All 3 of her kids. I know you're all Christian, but aren't y'all Catholic? I mean, that's how weird that little family in down south is. I don't know how everybody, I'm waiting for one of your kids, Daniel, to come home and say that they're, converting to, Hare Krishna or something. It's just like, kids have moved to manga. I know, but back then I didn't know manga. It wasn't translated. So I was reading Archie and that's pretty much it. Cause they didn't do a lot of digest stuff for Marvel. It was pretty much just like kids books and stuff. So, all right. Well, look, fellas, it's late. It's 9:41. That's not true. It's 8:30. Shut up, Jaffe. Point being, that's been the show for today. Thank you guys for the calls, for the conversations, for the super chats. Good to see everybody. I definitely am back Saturday at 5 o'clock with a new I Love the Weird. You're going to want to tune in for that. There's some weird shit going on in this world, my friends. But definitely off tomorrow. Always off on Wednesday. But Thursday, Friday is still kind of up in the air. Tomorrow is lunch with Jaffe, though, by the way. So if you are a member at any tier or a mod, swing on by the Discord tomorrow. I think around 11:30, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll post it tonight or tomorrow morning. My brother sounds like my kind of person. Oh, he is. I'd love for him to come on the stream. He doesn't want to. I just think, and he's so smart. He's so smart. But he just, I've always told him, I'm like, let's do a stream about politics and, conspiracy theories and all this shit. And he just, he's not interested. How to submit topics for I Love the Weird. Just hit me up on the Discord or hit me up on Twitter. Or I'll put up a link tonight or tomorrow on YouTube and say, hey, the show's coming up this weekend. If there's anything you want me to talk about and get to, post it here. All right. Be well, you guys. Thanks, everybody. Good night, Daniel. Good night, all you guys. Goodbye, Pete Turtle. Congrats on your girlfriend getting out of, like I said, kindergarten. All right. I will see you guys, maybe if I can turn this fucking thing off. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.